You are listening to the podcast of Ice and Fire, episode 129 for the week of December 29th, 2013. Welcome back, listeners, to yet another episode of the podcast of Ice and Fire. We are the longest-running podcast dedicated to George R. R. Martin's Song of Ice and Fire series, ancillary novellas, and occasionally Game of Thrones TV show. As always, this is Mimi.
This is Ashley.
This is Amin.
And this is Kyle.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode with the full crew.
Woohoo!
It's one of these again. I'm really excited that we're all here today because we are doing an episode, an anticipated one, apparently, over The Princess and the Queen, or The Blacks and the Greens, which is a novella that was published earlier this month in the Dangerous Women anthology, which was edited by George R. R. Martin. And it is, I guess it's a novella that was released instead of the fourth Dunk and Egg story, because that one was supposed to be The She-Wolves of Winterfell, and this came out in Dangerous Women instead. So we had touched on this in a previous podcast episode, but it is sort of a historical account written from the perspective of Archmaester Gildane of the Citadel of Old Town. And I think in one of our previous podcast episodes, Kyle and I think was it just the two of us?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. We just took a break during the middle of the podcast, read the excerpt that was released by Tor. That was earlier this summer, and kind of talked about it a little bit. Now the full novella is out, and I'm sure everyone in Song of Ice and Fire fandom has read it ravenously and have been waiting for a recap and a review of it from the podcast. So here it is.
Everyone's just waiting for that review.
On the edge of their seats. Just wondering what amazingly insightful and smart content.
Well, we're lucky to have you with us, Mimi, because you're our Targaryen expert. So you're going to drop the knowledge bomb on us today?
I am going to try, but you guys, let's be real. This is a very lengthy novella, or so I felt while I was trying to read this real fast and inconspicuously at work.
It is not something you can read without a notebook by your side, so you can write down all the names and be like, wait, that one's different from this guy. Mm-hmm. And that dragon goes with this one.
It took me a few paragraphs to realize that Rhaenyra and Rhaenys and Rhaenyres or whatever were two different people. I was like, wait a minute, that chick was doing something else 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because the Targaryen names are all very similar and they're all obviously repeated throughout the entire Targaryen lineage. So you have to really pay close attention. And of course, this reads as a historical account. It doesn't read as in the same sort of storytelling vein that the proper novels as well as the Dunk and Egg novellas take on.
AKA, there weren't long descriptions of food.
There were hardly any descriptions of food.
I think the only food was people being eaten by dragons.
Yeah, I'm really amazed that George called this The Princess and the Queen, or The Blacks and the Greens, when he really should have titled this A Story in Which Every Single Person and Thing Dies. Because that is literally all that happens. In every page of this, someone or something dies. So I feel like I wish that we had prepared for this podcast better and started drinking as we did this recap anytime a person died.
Done.
Oh my god, they'd all be drunk on the ground by now.
We would all just be in the hospital 5 minutes into this podcast. But
George would be
listening at home, if you don't value your life, you can absolutely listen to this podcast and drink every time someone dies. I mean, not like one of us, but...
And I'm dead.
In the novella.
And the podcast is not responsible for any things that come out of that, just legal notice.
George is sitting behind the computer, shaking his head, going, just as planned, just as planned.
Well, it's kind of nice that this came out, because so many people, I know, talking to you guys, some of the huge complaints about Feast and Dance seem to be that, well, where are the battles? Where are the epic battles? What's going on? And then this short story comes out, and it's just nothing but.
Y'all, I don't even know if I want battles anymore, because if this is what happens, then this was the most depressing thing to read. It's just this clusterfuck of mistakes.
You guys were
just wanted
depressed
to take
reading
the two women and just smack them both over the heads and be like, this is all because you two are squabbling over a chair.
Well, there's a lot that comes with that chair.
And, and we're really looking at the seeds sown for something like this in the Song of Ice and Fire books proper, which is really, I think, why this is a pivotal novella to release, to have this backstory at the time where there is so much contention for this throne.
The whole story made me really want someone to take one of Daenerys' dragons so that we'll have dragon battles instead of just dragons on one side later on.
It's making me wonder if, like, now that we know how long they can live, if there are other dragons that are going to come up and then we will get these epic dragon battles.
Y'all, I think Cannibal is still alive.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, we don't know exactly how long they live. We know that the oldest one was about 180 or so, but we don't know how long
I think Valaryon ended up being 200.
Oh,
yeah, did he die of old age, basically? Is that how he died?
I don't think anyone pointed out how he died, but I think that was what
happened. Or maybe.
In the Conquest, right?
Valaryon died during the reign of the old king.
It just doesn't say how he died.
Did they say Valaryon was older than Vhagar?
I think he was older when he
Valaryon
died.
Valaryon was 200, and Vhagar made it to about 180.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha. So we don't know how Valaryon died.
Valaryon at the time of the Conquest, right?
What was that?
Well, Vhagar was a lot younger.
Yes.
Yeah, at the time of the Conquest.
Yes. But we don't know why Valaryon died, right?
No.
That's not listed.
Not I'm aware of.
Okay.
And Meraxes was killed in Dorne.
Which makes Dorne even more badass. Do we want to do a lemon cake rating, like go around and give it a rating?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think so. Go ahead, Amin.
Give it 4.5 out of 5 lemon cakes. I really enjoyed the story. I liked the unorthodox compared to George's style, like just giving you what's going on perspective, because it was a lot faster. We got that. And I actually came up with 2 theories that I'll mention during the course of the podcast. Or I guess I can mention them after the lemon cakes really briefly, because I'll be pointing to the evidence for them through the thing.
I give this 4 out of 5 bottles of antidepressants because as much as I enjoyed reading this, it was infuriating, of course, to read this and be like, what the fuck are any of you doing? Like, everything is wrong and everything is terrible and everyone's gonna die. And that was mostly the anxiety I had while reading this. So I didn't love it as much as I would have loved a proper Dunk and Egg novella, but it is a ton of information, which I just really, really liked absorbing.
I gave it a 4 empty wine bottles out of 5. I feel like I could tell that there were things missing that I wanted more fleshed out. That's the only thing that took back from it. I loved getting all the information. I wish I had realized a little bit sooner how much absorbing it would take so that I gave myself more time to read it than having to rush through it and be like, I have to go back and check all the names all over again because I can't. It's so hard. Like, this family tree is just crazy.
Yeah, I think a better drinking game would be to take a shot every time we get something wrong as we go through this.
Oh crap, that's gonna be tough.
It's gonna happen, y'all. Let's be real.
Yeah, I liked how 2 seconds before we started podcasting, Ashley's like, "Hey Kyle, this helped me out," and sends me an entire Targaryen family tree that I looked at and went cross-eyed immediately. But I'll give this a 4 dragons and a wingless sunfire out of 5. I thought it was a blast. It was such a fun read. It was so nice to just get some just hardcore Song of Ice and Fire action, and it was. I thought I was going to be mad because it wasn't fleshed out, and I mean that's half the reason I love the story is because there's so many details and such a rich world. And this is certainly just kind of like, oh, and this battle, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I thought that was going to annoy me, but it didn't as much as I was expecting. So I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun.
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess what we're going to do is we're going to go through and take 8 hours to recap this blow by blow. And I guess whatever theories or points of discussion you guys come up with, is feel free to get into it.
Cool. We'll just give my 2 right away so we can... That'll be on our mind as going through, if that's okay. So here's the one that I think is more likely. I think that dragons have some sort of telepathic connection with their riders. Maybe not the people might not be aware of it, but there's some sort of telepathic connection, not necessarily warging, but some sort of mental connection, even like from Havel and Tuff. I don't know if you guys have read it, just like having that telepathic connection there. I think there's evidence for that throughout the...
his connections to what? His cats?
Yeah, for example, like it's showing like George has worked with animals before, having like, you know, kind of having that psi connection, that telepath connection, some sort of mental connection.
Tuff was just supposed to be like a crazy cat lady.
No, but he actually genetically engineered the cats to have that ability.
Right.
In that one. And I mean, we even have warging, which is basically like that already, but I'm not saying that it's warging, because the riders might not be aware of it, but there's some sort of mental connection which ties into maybe that's what the Targaryen blood is. Targaryens can do it because they are more likely to have that gene or that ability, but other people might be able to do it as well.
Well, I mean, let's keep in mind that one of the Dragon Riders, at least one of the Dragon Riders in here, didn't have any Targaryen blood.
And it doesn't have to be Targaryen, it's just more likely that they would have that ability, I think, or that connection.
And it's not confirmed, but it said that Helena's, is that her name, Helena?
Mm-hmm.
That her, I'm unsure of any of these pronunciations, that her dragon knew when she died.
And the other one, very quickly, this is more of like, I don't think it's quite a theory because it could just be writer's bias, but the thing with the Iron Throne and how it tricks people who aren't worthy, like how was Iron Throne made? It was made through dragonfire and through like the blades put together, so maybe there is some sort of magical element to it.
That one is, from reading Westeros, is the writer's bias.
Yeah, his bias,
that one is the quoted from that one maester, and all of that one maester's quotes are very biased towards Aegon.
Yeah. I mean, that's one interpretation, but I mean, we have the Iron Throne stories for other leaders as well, right? So
yeah, they also say that all bastards are bastards. So
yeah, I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't be like impossible for the Iron Throne to have some magical quality. Far weaker theory than the dragon one.
So you guys genuinely feel like Archmaester Gildain was significantly biased toward Aegon?
No, the starts with an E. He quotes this one maester who was actually the one who anointed Aegon II.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And
well,
it's all the quotes. Every time you see him quoting something, it's usually from him, and those are the biased quotes.
That makes sense. Well, it's interesting that George kept that in here in this account. Do you guys feel like Gildain's account is relatively unbiased?
I think so, because he does point out when he's unsure of facts, and it seems like he's writing at a time where he has no stakes in any of it.
He's just being a neutral observer as far as he can be.
So here's a question before we get into this. Which side are you guys on as you read this, Blacks or the Greens? I know we talked about this when it came to the Blackfire Rebellion, and I skewed very much one way over the other when it came to that whole situation. But when it comes to the Dance of Dragons, how did you guys feel? Who were you siding with?
Well, at the start of it, I was very much siding with Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like because of the whole wishy-washiness of male and female importance and can they step up within the Targaryen lineage and everything, I was like, yeah, she's got a better claim to the throne. But then as soon as we got to know her, I didn't really side with her very much. But I think initially she was the side I took.
Well, I just think that a lot of her faults are not really her faults. The only time that she really lost it was ruling King's Landing when she started to get paranoid.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
strong Cersei behavior.
Yeah, like that's the only time that I disliked her. But before then, I think all of her other decisions, like she actually listened to people and she took in advice and weighed options. So she seemed kind of more level-headed than anyone on the green side.
Well, it's tough. I mean, both sides had their bad people on both sides. Like they did, like horrible things like Aemond or Darren at times. But I actually starting off, I actually liked the Greens, and not because of like the male-female thing. The reason why I liked the Greens is like they had all the economic power behind them. They had Lannisport, they had Old Town. Like it would make more sense like that those areas would rule. And if the other areas had, like, the Starks or the Vale had a problem, they should just break off, not try to, like, impose their will there. So from that point of view, I like the Greens because they had more of the mainland population.
I could have sworn, you'd be on black territory when I read this, because when I found out that Rhaenyra had the power of the sea behind her, I was like, Ameen's all over that shit.
But she wasted the power of the sea, right? She, like, imprisoned the guy who, like, the lord of the sea snake, right? And then lost, like, the fleet and all of that. But that was just, like, bad military stuff. I mean, just looking at it from like the perspective of the people on the continent, it made sense that the native Andal population would try to seize power finally. Like it's like the Mongols or somebody going and taking over. Eventually the people underneath assimilate and try to take power a generation or two later on. So this is like the Andal like resurgence here. Not that I particularly like Andals, but I don't like Targaryens. So
I thought you were gonna.
Everybody in this was a bastard except for Addam Velaryon, who I think was the only redeeming person.
Nettie seemed okay.
Huh?
Yeah, Nettles.
Nettie.
Yeah.
Nettie seemed okay. I feel like Rhaenyra's sons were pretty legit dudes.
Oh, that Daemon guy. No, Darren? The young one. The Daring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He seemed cool.
I mean, there seemed to be some honorable people who might have just been unlucky instead of just making poor decisions.
Wait, Nettie seemed okay? She was sleeping with the prince.
That's not confirmed.
Oh, she was,
please.
but what's the problem? with that. Like, it's not her fault. Like, blame the prince for like sleeping with like somebody
She's
40 years
16.
younger.
He's what?
Yeah.
50.
49.
She's giving
Who are
this
you gonna
dragon.
blame
You're like,
in that?
hey, little girl out of nowhere. Hey, here's your. Oh, yep, you can have this dragon. Oh, yada yada yada. Sure, sleep with my husband too.
Well, first of
think it was
all,
pretty
I
obvious
assumed
that
all
they
the
had an open
Targaryen dudes fucked anyone they wanted. So, and let's not forget that Rhaenyra herself, had plenty of dick in her too. So, I mean, there's.
Well, she's the queen. She can do what she wants.
I think the
I
two
can't believe
of
you're
them
mad
have,
about this. Like,
an
you're mad
understanding.
about her sleeping with Daemon?
No.
Why is it her fault?
I'm just saying she's not as innocent as she seems.
She's kind of cool as fuck to me, but.
I thought she was like an older version of Arya.
Yeah, she was cool.
So
Nice.
I guess we did go into the beginning of this, Kyle and I. We talked a bit extensively about the beginning that was released by Tor when we first talked about it. But essentially, the Princess and the Queen opens up with really a description of how terrible the Dance of the Dragons was, and essentially what prompted this whole thing was the death of King Viserys I Targaryen. And so this entire conflict is that he has the first daughter by an unknown Aaron, I guess, right?
Unknown, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, whoever it is got her more Targaryen blood through that line, apparently, right?
Apparently there was more Targaryen blood on that side. I got confused though because it was later said that Rhaenyra had Baratheon blood in her. Was it Rhaenyra or Rhaenys?
I thought it was more. Oh no, never mind. Sorry.
Let's see.
We'll find out how horribly wrong we are when the listeners show up.
So we don't know who the mom is, but it was a legitimate childbirth and marriage.
It was an Aaron.
Yeah.
It was a legit marriage, and Rhaenyra was the only surviving child from it. So I guess
And her husband was descendant from a Baratheon
okay.
that married a Targaryen.
So then that whole thing, his first marriage, I guess she died or something. So then he married a second woman, which was Alicent Hightower, daughter of old Otto Hightower, I believe.
Otto.
And
I feel like he should be working on my car.
she had a slew of kids. She had Aegon II, her oldest son, Aemond, who had one eye, Daemon.
What was up with that? Was he born with one eye?
No.
Oh, he had his eye put
No,
out.
one of Rhaenyra's kids put it out. Probably just Jace. Probably Jace.
Rhaenyra's kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the, quote, strong bastards or something, right? So it could be
Yeah.
one of those.
So one of the
But-
put out his eye.
Because he didn't mention it when facing against Luke, the theory is that it was Jace, because Joffrey would have been too young.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe that's why one of the reasons he was so pissed off with them.
He was angry.
Well, it seems like
I think he's just a dick.
He was also a dick, but I think that fueled his dickishness. He was already a douchebag to start with.
Yeah, he might have got a little power crazy.
So we
too.
got all one eye in the middle, and we have Daemon, the youngest son, who's apparently the gentlest, and then Helena, her daughter, who I guess she married to Aegon too, because that is the thing that the Targaryens do, which I forgot.
Hot.
So apparently they'd been preparing for the king's death for a while, and Viserys Targaryen made it very, very clear to the entire realm that Rhaenyra was his lawful heir and would take the throne after his death. But certainly Alicent Hightower did not like that shit because her sons would be disinherited. And more to the point, I guess the point of contention here is that if Rhaenyra were to take the throne, then her sons would be heirs, and there was all these rumors about her sons being bastards. So,
Because we know what happens when a bastard takes the throne.
Jacaerys Velaryon was rumored to be the son of her lover, Harwin Strong. So they thought all three of her sons, from her first husband, Laenor Velaryon. I guess they thought all three of her sons, supposedly fathered by him, were actually fathered by Harwin Strong. So, I don't really think that is enough of a claim to disinherit Rhaenyra. It was just, I assume that when she takes the throne, she's gonna turn the Red Keep into a brothel. I feel like that is some TMZ level gossip and conjecture.
Yeah. I think Criston Cole is jealous when he says all that stuff, because he used to be her lover, right?
Yeah, it's not until the very end when we read about why the alternate title of this is the Blacks and the Greens, and it all really has to do with some bitches wearing colors at a tourney. And, really, the last sentence says, in the tourney itself, the Blacks had much the better of it when Sir Criston Cole, wearing Princess Rhaenyra's favor, unhorsed all the Queen's champions. including 2 of her cousins and her youngest brother, Sir Gawain Hightower. So I guess the point of that was Criston Cole was wearing Princess Rhaenyra's favor, but we open up the story with him clearly turning against her to put her brother on the throne.
And becoming the kingmaker.
Criston Cole, he went down in fucking infamy in the White Book for the shit that he pulled here.
I mean, they had the different... Go ahead, yeah. Sorry.
He's kind of like Peter Baelish, just really bitter.
Yeah, and they had different interpretation of what he did, but he just seems like the jilted ex-boyfriend who's like, after he breaks up, he's like, oh, she was a whore. Like I'm favoring that interpretation because he just says it all the time. Like everyone calls it a whore, but he does it in particular.
The princess and the queen, this whole thing, the dance of the dragons, in which everybody died, was started by one rejected neckbeard. That's what it sounds like.
And Rhaenyra was 14 at that tournament. Like if they were already in a relationship there, he was creaking her door pretty early. So
yeah, but in Song of Ice and Fire world, that's legit.
That's legit.
Yeah.
But if Criston wasn't there would have been somebody else who would have put the crown on his head, right?
I mean, I feel like Otto Hightower and obviously Queen Alicent were pushing for it pretty hard, and so was Ironrod, but I think Criston Cole had a lot to do with getting this underway.
Yeah, he was the Lord Commander, so that kind of carried some weight.
Okay.
So the old king dies, and apparently they had prepared for this, basically put this whole fucking place on lockdown, and have a small council meeting. And at this time, only 5 of the White Cloaks are in King's Landing because Sir Eric Cargyle and Sir Lawrence Marbrand are with Princess Rhaenyra on Dragonstone as she is about to give some birth.
Give some birth. There's some birth, guys. Merry Christmas.
She's given it 6 times, I think, right? So.
As her husband's body is cooling, Sir Alicent is planning to, plotting with her father and basically convincing the small council that they need to start acting fast to put Aegon II on the throne and make sure that word of King Viserys' death doesn't reach the rest of the land until they've put their plans to action.
And here's the cool part. Aegon, a cool guy at this point, was like, no, guys, what are you doing? She has a better claim than me. It's her throne to have. I'm not going to take it and fight her and kill people.
May I interject?
Yeah.
That was one part that got edited out, and that was actually a quote from that one Scepter guy, Septon.
But how do we know that? Does it say that?
What are you saying?
Rand said so.
Wait, what? What are we talking about?
The fact that it was a quote from the Septon that is biased towards Aegon got edited out, but it is from that one Septon, and that's why it seems so different from the rest of his personality.
So we're saying that didn't happen?
Well, we're saying that was that one person's account of what happened.
Okay. No, I mean, in general, it could have been, it could be fake. But I mean, how are we supposed to know this unless Rand tells you this? It's not listed in the paper, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm frustrated reading this.
So the whole point is that in the small council, Lord Lyman Beesbury, who was the master of coin and old as fuck at 80, was the one who stood up for Rhaenyra. And as a result, Criston Cole fucking slit his throat right there.
And then nobody else objected.
That is terrifying to me. And that is when Criston Cole became a dickwad in my book. How are you going to kill this old man?
Melisandre.
Yeah, it's just me feeling for all the old men that get killed in Song of Ice and Fire. But obviously, once the, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard kills a member of the small council, no objections are raised. And so the Greens enjoy the advantage. I don't really like all these people calling each other whores in this.
Yeah, they're always using that term for her. They never call like the men like a man whore or something. It's always used toward Rhaenyra.
Yeah, and that is just rude. But.
Oh, it's such a nice world, full of pleasantries.
It just seems bitchy.
I mean, the Greens in general they're not good on the gender. I was supporting them on their economic basis.
Whatever, I mean, you're a sexist and we know it. Anyway, what's interesting here is that the small council decided to swear a blood oath to bind.
About that.
Yeah, it's like the Klingon blood oath.
Kapla.
But it's interesting because the conspirators all do this and sign this blood oath, but it's my understanding that the Kingsguard were all involved in this blood oath, right? Because we know one of them defected.
Yep.
Not too long afterwards, so.
Were they all the Kingsguard in that room at that time? Like all
five of them.
Standing there? Or they're just in the city?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, they said 5 were in King's Landing. I assume that they were in there, but you could be right. It could have just been, yeah, it was just the Lord Commander. Yeah, it was just the Lord Commander in there. So fucking Criston Cole. I guess the rest of the dudes did not swear that blood oath, which makes sense. On this page, I made a note where King Lucerys' body is still laying there, swollen and rotting, and next to that I wrote gross. So apparently I wanted to talk about how this is like a very disrespectful thing to do in the light of everything, is to just let this corpse lie there and bloat.
Was he murdered? Like some people were saying that he was murdered by Criston Cole, but I'm trying to see if there's any evidence of that.
I'm wondering if, like, Alicent murdered him.
With something in his wine. So.
Yeah.
It was just that he went to bed and just never woke up, so it does seem
poisonous.
They put a pillow on his face. And
they were all kind of getting ready, geared up, because they all knew this was going to happen.
Well, yeah, the timing of him dying as Rhaenyra is kind of indisposed, giving all that birth in Dragonstone, seems pretty well coordinated. So it could have just been like some strong sweet sleep or something, but again, conspiracy theory.
And it's also at the beginning of the story, the Maester says it's like a story of murder and blah blah blah, and it includes poison in his description, and I don't recall anyone ever being poisoned in it.
There was poison at the end.
There's Ulf or something gets poisoned.
Or something.
Yeah, there's that awesome dude who drinks the wine knowing he's going to be poisoned just to not screw everybody over.
Strong Maester Crescent syndrome.
And then he tried to throw up.
That's like me every time I drink. I feel
You feel like you're being poisoned and then you just throw up just in case?
Basically, trying and failing to make myself up.
Good thing you got a gag reflex. Jeez.
Good.
Are you saying you don't?
I know people who don't. I know people who don't. Yeah, I do.
Oh, you're so sleazy, Kyle. Okay, let's continue.
Kyle's name is well known to all the whores and the people in that face.
I'm Prince Daemon, baby.
This really kind of details the lords that stand with the greens and the lords that stand with the blacks. And let's be real, guys. The green supporters are the shitty people, the Lannisters, for one thing. Who even likes the Lannisters?
Oh, they were cool back then, right?
The fact that the Lannisters and the Reach were together kind of makes sense, and it makes sense later on. They're kind of like natural allies. They're like in the same kind of area. They have similar values.
They got their ass kicked.
Allies of shittiness. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra has House Velaryon, which I assume is an awesome house, although they become kind of inconsequential in our current day and age. Really, all we have left from that is the Bastard of Driftmark, right? That's the reference.
Yeah, what's up with the Velaryons? We have a listener on Twitter who was asking us tons of questions about the Velaryons.
Like, so, be the right resource.
Like at Spectral asks, what's the deal with the Velaryons?
Good voice there.
Wait, hold on, there's more. Why'd the sea snake make those bastard brothers his heirs? Are Velaryons post-dance really Velaryons? He says, can't remember where it says, but Velaryons are meant to be the only house besides Targaryens to be descended from Velaryons.
I just can't believe George gave him a name that is just the same as Velaryon.
I feel like that gives them a better claim to be the lords of Valeria.
And that's why they
it
kept
makes
that name.
sense why they married into the Targaryens a lot, and I do believe that those two bastards were probably related, they were either his sons or close relatives that he knew of.
Well, by the time that we get to our current day and age, nobody talks about them anymore, you know?
Well, I mean, part of the war weakened them, right? That's one thing. Like, they lost some fleet and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Driftmark is still there, you know, and...
I think they got sacked. Did Riftmark get sacked? Some of the places got sacked. We'll get there, I guess.
Every place gets sacked. This is Westeros.
Velaryons are intriguing, but rarely mentioned. Kind of like the Green Men of Dragonstone.
There's Green Men on Dragonstone?
No, like the Green Men of Dragonstone, like their version of Green Men.
Oh, okay.
So she's got the sea dudes, you know. She's got Bar Emin, Massey, Celtigar, Crab. We know about those dudes. The Even Star of Tarth, who... Can
I tell you how excited I got every time a name popped up that I knew? I was like, Tarth! I know them! Yeah!
Well, you guys should remember Celtigar and Bar Emin. I mean, they were relevant to Stannis' story.
I remember that first one you just said.
Okay. Good job. But let's be real, like the Starks, the Winterfell had spoken for Rhaenys at Harrenhal, when she was first, I guess, introduced as the heir.
Winterfell sounds so They just sound like beasts from the north. Like
but they didn't actually fight,
wilderness
did they?
men. Well, they fought later on and died
They're
a lot.
bannermen mainly came. I don't know if there was enough time to
I think the
muster.
actual Starks did, but the Barrington.
Because it takes a long time to muster, which just makes sense. The North takes a while to muster.
It takes a long time to muster in the board game and in this world. Maybe
My theory is that
Commanderlies,
Yeah, I know them.
House Aaron,
Yep.
declared because the area was ruled by a woman at that time, Queen Jane, the Maiden of the Vale. So it made sense for her to support Princess Rhaenyra's claims. But the real question was House Baratheon, and Baratheon did declare for the Greens eventually, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they did, even though they made a big point of saying that they were probably going to be for the blacks. I didn't quite understand why they went with the Greens during the whole Aemond and Kinslayer name.
I didn't get it either, but I suppose when a bro shows up with a dragon first, you're like...
Because he was going to marry one of his daughters, and thus he would have a daughter with a claim.
Which really kind of sucks, but it's the betrayal of Rhaenys,
Yeah.
Since she's got the Baratheon blood, it kind of dicks her.
They were making a point of saying the Baratheons were so like, oh, they're going to be such a major cog in like whatever side they go with, and then the Baratheons end up teaming with the Greens, and then like they don't do anything.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually left.
I was like, why were they so important? They just sat there and weathered
As
some
usual,
storm.
people just hang out in Storm's End forever.
Didn't the Stormlords really take part either?
They didn't do much. Well, maybe that's smart on them. I mean, they just didn't lose a lot of people.
And that's why we still recognize them to this day.
Yeah. You know, somebody else they didn't do jack shit was the Greyjoys. Like they mentioned them a couple times. Oh, that's Greyjoys. They're gonna do something, and then it's like we didn't even hear about them if they did
that's
it.
true.
How sad were you that the Dornish weren't mentioned at all?
But they weren't.
Yeah, I kept waiting for them to pop up, and then I realized, they're not part of the realm.
Which related to that, I mean, this is right on the next page. They actually say King of the Rhoynar in here. Now, do you think that's like an error, or they're just so arrogant that they're claiming the whole continent? Probably the latter. But maybe he just copy and pasted from the other book.
Dorne hadn't wed into
no,
Westeros?
they were independent.
It wasn't until around the Blackfire Rebellion, right?
Oh wow, I didn't realize that Dorne was free for that or separate for that long. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you know who really didn't do jack shit, which we realized later on was the Tyrells.
Yeah, they were new. They were Sweden.
They pulled a late Walder Frey.
Well, they only had a kid, right? Like there was only like the mother who was the guardian didn't have an acting lord, I think.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Prince Aegon really showing his Joffrey level spirit here. Am I king or no? If I'm king, then crown me. Okay. Calm it down. Preparations have to be made. This is important, but obviously he was really eager to get the crown, which is kind of at odds with his the original assertion that he didn't want to steal his sister's birthright. So, do you think that if Rhaenyra had taken the throne, she would have put her half brother to the sword? I mean, if everyone had submitted to her rule.
I think there would have been people who suggested it. I don't know that she would have for sure, though. I think smart move would have been to marry her kids with them.
Yeah, mix the line, which eventually happened at the very end. But it was
it's
a
not
waste.
exactly like she had.
But she doesn't have any daughters through her first marriage, right? I mean, the daughters that we hear about later are Daemon's. So who's she gonna marry to Aegon's kids?
Brother to brother.
No, Aegon has daughters.
To the next level.
Right. She's young, I guess. He has a daughter.
Who?
Like King Aegon's daughter eventually marries the other Aegon kid, like at the very end. Like they're at the right ages, I guess, for that.
Yeah, I guess he's got that 6-year-old right at the time.
Yeah, and you got Helena, who they could have married.
Helena was married to
already
Aegon.
married.
Well, not.
Yeah, but if Varys
I'm
was
saying,
smart.
Oh, earlier on they should have married Helena to somebody before.
Yeah, exactly. Like if she had taken the throne.
Yeah, if you're
Aemon
taking a
hadn't
second
married
wife, you're creating the second batch of heirs that could cause trouble later on.
Anyway, very confusing.
And then you get all those Velaryons too, like.
So, do you think that the Rhoynar thing was on purpose? Then he's putting it, they're just claiming everything, or do you think it was a mistake by George?
That might have been a mistake.
Because it could be other.
What mistake?
He could save it by saying, "Oh, it just means that they're claiming the whole continent," and saying, "I'm the Rhoynar."
Okay.
Went
on. So anyway, Aegon gets coronated. Is that an actual coronated, right?
He gets coronationed.
He gets that. He gets the crown of the original conqueror and not King Viserys' crown, which Sir Stephen Darkland of the Kingsguard had the good sense to steal like a street rat. And
He's like, peace out.
slip away from the city, which is, it's kind of nice that, you know, Rhaenyra gets the crown that her dad wore that he intended for her.
I thought it was going to be the twin brother that like ran off.
Oh, yeah, no, we knew that Sir Eric and Sir Eric end up killing each other and crying. They didn't touch on this in the novella, did they?
It got cut.
It got cut.
It's going to be in the other version that comes out eventually, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting they didn't mention it because I thought that was the one point because we hear about it later, that we would actually get to witness, but apparently so many people died and George just didn't have enough pages to include all of them. In Dragonstone, Rhaenyra Targaryen is
Giving birth.
On her third day of labor. She is so upset about the news from King's Landing. Understandably, receiving this news while in labor is not good.
I gotta tell you though, she bounces back pretty quick from that childbirth. Like
that is, yeah, she gives birth to a stillborn monster apparently with a stubby scale tail. Does that sound familiar to y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think that means? Because that's like a pattern now.
Is that even possible medically?
I'm pretty sure it's not medically possible. I don't think we need to consult an MD on this, but I'm pretty sure that's not it.
Yeah, we got at Spectral saying again, Tyrion and Dany both lost mothers in childbirth. Tyrion, Rhaego, and baby Visenya described as twisted and deformed, grotesque.
Although Tyrion did not come out with a tail, so good for him.
So. Oh yeah, you're thinking that maybe Tyrion is what happens when one of those things live?
One of those things. Good lord.
Dany and baby Visenya, both born on Dragonstone during epic storms. Many common elements, but can't figure out how they fit together.
Was there a storm? Yep. I mean, I know during Dany's birth, but...
Oh, this one I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this baby Visenya?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They say that they murdered my daughter, so she's basically blaming it on, like, the news.
I feel like this was the moment when I was like, maybe Rhaenyra, not that cool, slightly unhinged. Because, come on, that didn't have anything to do with the fact that you gave birth to...
Well, the shock could have...
Yeah, but not the tail, it was already there.
Tail on her baby.
No, it didn't have a tail.
Just saying they're part dragon.
Actually, that kind of shock. I'm sorry. Yeah, that is rough though. It is rough to be in labor, to hear that your birthright has been stolen, and then to give birth to a stillborn child. So very... Well,
at least they give birth to it. I mean, what about those people who have the babies that just stay in them and calcify, and then they have like a dead baby just in their stomach?
What are you talking about?
You haven't seen that shit? That's happened, like, I've read a couple stories about that where...
On Snopes or like...
No, like real people, they're like, they get pregnant, or they don't even know they're pregnant, excuse me. They don't even know they're pregnant. They just, they gain some weight, and then later on they're like, alright, I'm gonna lose this weight, and they exercise, and they can't get rid of this weight, and she goes into the hospital and finds out that she had a baby, she was pregnant, and the baby died in the womb and calcified and just became this stone baby just lodged up in her.
But this is real?
This is real. This really this has happened.
That sounds like an urban legend that Kyle is disseminating.
No, this didn't happen.
No responsibility.
I read about that. Yeah.
That happens.
But it did not happen here. So apparently, we talk about, the princess calling the council of her own. She's got 2 Kingsguards, Sir Eric Cargyle, Sir Laurent Marbrand, who'd been there. We talk about her 3 sons, Jace, 15, Luke, 14, Joffrey, 12. Immediate dislike for Joffrey, no.
Except, I think I like Joffrey in this story. Like, it redeems the name Joffrey. Like, he seems like a nice guy. And it's like 4 or 5 times he's always trying, I want to fight in battle and stuff, and then you see what happens to him. In the end, it's kind of sad.
Didn't he want to save his brother?
Yeah, all 3 of her sons seemed really decent, so that's kind of a bummer. And then she's got Prince Daemon, her uncle and husband, which is gross, who seems pretty cool. Prince Daemon reminds me of...
Well, they call him the Black Viper.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he reminds me of the Red Viper.
Okay. I was thinking about a Nip Tuck episode, but
Okay.
This is a real thing. It's called lithopidian, or a stone baby, and it happens. Bam. Okay, what were we talking about?
Daemon being hot.
Yeah. Daemon
Except for the murder of the kids, he was pretty cool. Just that part was a bit much.
Well, okay, so that was kind of interesting. We'll get there, but first we want to point out the greatest lord to pledge his strength to the princess was Corlys, Valaryon of Driftmark, who seemed like a cool dude. He and his wife, Princess Rhaenys, who was a fucking badass. I take it back. Not everybody is an asshole. She is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I definitely really enjoyed reading about her. So they obviously come and support the princess because they were the parents of her first husband, who apparently is maligned as a child molester by the Greens.
Ooh.
I wasn't sure if that meant that or if they were just implying he was gay. Because,
I feel like
a lot of biased people will correlate.
Yeah.
Suggest that
too,
he had a taste for men, but I think it's another to say the boys aren't safe around him. I think he was painted as a child molester, and it could, but the whole gay thing might have been the impetus for everyone thinking that her children were actually fathered by her lover, right? So.
But the key thing is that they would be done before they started unless they had dragons. Like it was the dragons that let them have a civil war. Like unless they had the time to muster the North and the Vale, they were so had that far less forces. But it's like we have the dragon advantage, so it was the dragons that allowed the war.
Oh yeah, and they had more dragons.
Yeah.
A lot more.
A lot more dragons, and also superiority at sea, and some better fighters on her side.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about the numbering of the dragons, and I guess it was 4 to 6 or something. Or a lot more than that, actually.
No, they had 12 at the end.
Yeah.
They had the wild ones and the ones that had with no riders that were there, so they could even bolster their numbers if they
There
wanted.
were 5, I think, to start with, and then they mounted a bunch more. And
then you had the 3 wild ones.
Right?
Actually, it was 6 to 10 was the final count. The Greens had Sunfire, Vhagar, Dreamfire, totally useless, Tessarion, and then Morgul and Shrikos, who we did not see in battle, right?
Which dragon would you have written? Like, would you have wanted?
Me? Cannibal.
Yeah, Cannibal.
Kyle?
I think he's still alive.
Yeah. Cannibal was not involved in any of this. The Blacks had Syrax, Millies, Caraxes, Vermax, Arax, Tyraxis, Moondancer, Stormcloud, Sheepstealer, and Seasmoke. Sheepstealer. How does this sucks to be a dragon and to have the name Sheepstealer?
I mean, Sunfire is pretty awesome in terms of just he was the golden dragon. But if you wanted to be top of the talk, I mean, you gotta go Vhagar, right?
Oh wait, and of course, I'm sorry, the Blacks also had Vermithor and Silverwing, who changed sides.
Oh, that part.
That
pissed me off.
Was upsetting, but we will get there shortly.
All right, let's cruise along.
Let's go. So
they sit there counting
the dragon situation. And this is cool, you guys. We know so little about the dragons from our novels proper that it's really awesome to be back here at the time when there were probably the most dragons and kind of read about them.
Yeah, and then get pissed off at how they squandered them all.
Yeah.
Well, just let the rioters deal with it.
Oh, and of course that part when they're like, hey, Dalton Greyjoy, he might go either way on this, or he might do jack shit.
Yeah, jack shit. But you notice there's no red wines mentioned, so they don't have their fleet yet. They're not important yet.
So they had no sea power at that time. Then they do kind of ride off the north here. By the time the Starks would gather their banners and march south, the war might well be over. So I think the Starks got spared in all of this.
Yeah. Just their bannermen that were involved.
The winter was coming and was like, nope, I'm not getting involved. We got other shit to deal with.
So Daemon decides, first of all, to go and grab Harrenhal, which...
That seems like always happens in every war, to grab Harrenhal.
Such a central location.
Yeah.
You can attack so many places from it.
And so, of course, there was a coronation as well for Rhaenyra when Sir Stephen Darkland shows up with his stolen crown. Mm-hmm. And she declares Sir Otto Hightower and Queen Alicent traitors and rebels, which makes sense, and she forgives her half-brothers and sister, believing they've been led astray by the Council of Evil Men, which does make sense. And I think it's important to note at this time that she sends off her sons, Jacaerys, to go muster the Vale for her, right, as a messenger. to the Eyrie to treat with the Lady of the Vale, and then to White Harbor to win the Manderleys. And poor little Luke, she tells him to take the safer mission to go to Storm's End.
Oof.
So painful.
You knew he was doomed when he said shorter and safer route.
Yeah.
That's been a thing. The king, Aegon II, offers her terms, which are pretty good, and she strongly rejects them. Mm. And all of this right now seems to make sense. No one has made a terrible mistake yet.
Until.
Teenage boys.
So, Jacaerys, he has a relatively safe journey. He gets Lady Arryn of the Vale, Lord Manderley of White Harbor.
He's a smooth talker, huh?
Borrell and Sunderland of Sisterton, and Cregan Stark of Winterfell. So he was doing great. Smooth sailing. Poor little Luke. He shows up at Storm's End, and what happens?
Party.
Old Aemond One-Eye is already there. Old One-Eye and Vhagar, who we remember survived the fucking conquest, so he is old and fierce. And Luke's only got what, Arrax, right? That's the dragon.
Arrax, yep.
And the whole time Luke is being really earnest. He's here as an envoy, and does make a mistake here though when Lord Boros says, "Okay, which one of my daughters are you gonna marry?" And Boros, and of course Luke says, "I'm not free to marry. I'm betrothed to my cousin." And Boros was like, "Well, fuck off then." So Luke starts to leave, and of course Aemond goes after him. And poor little Luke doesn't stand a chance. Vhagar is, 5 times the size of Arrax.
Massive.
And that was
cut him in half.
And I think that everything up until then had been like a standard sort of, war preparation, but this one death really just took Rhaenyra to the brink of madness.
It was bad luck of the weather too, right? If it would be in different weather, he would have escaped. One quick mention here, just in general, is like the sex of the dragons was kind of confusing in this story because I didn't understand like if they're able to change sex or there's different interpretations of them. So that was interesting.
Well, an oyster can change its sex 8 times a year.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that oyster knowledge.
He's got the oyster expertise.
I did trivia last night.
Oh, okay.
Well, do any of the dragons change sex depending on who's talking about them?
Not in the story itself, but just I didn't understand because before we've heard that like the ambiguous nature of the sex or whatever, and then now they have clear sex. Like I thought it could just be different interpretations of the. They have
Maesters. Clear sex.
Like he says her or him.
They assign pronouns and stuff.
Yeah.
That confused me at first too. So I was wondering if maybe they just don't at the beginning and then they develop one. Like maybe one day there's eggs like, oh, I guess it's a girl.
Are they born pregnant? Are they asexual? Like what's? Yeah.
Are they born pregnant?
Yeah.
It's like rats.
It's rats. What?
What do you guys even say? Okay, moving on.
I think I mean saying that rats are born pregnant.
It's like they're far closer in terms of breeding rates.
There are things born pregnant, like Godzilla in the last movie.
Fuck you guys. Continuing on, Daemon Targaryen. One cool thing about him is that he has friends in low places.
Okay, Garth Brooks.
He has a special friend, which I wrote, big cap letters, who is this?
Yeah.
Well, he's got all the gold cloaks, right?
Yeah, he's got all the gold cloaks, which, is a legit, force to have behind you in the Red Keep, but this pale stranger, his go-between, I would love to know who that was, or if they were, like, a faceless man or something.
I just always picture the Master of Whisperers as Varys, so I'm like, oh, that's the pale guy.
He has the same name except for one letter.
Oh, does he?
Varys? Like, people were saying, was George being lazy, or is just Varys stole that name? Like, Varys might have changed his name.
And they have very similar characteristics, too.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really speak much.
So is Varys, like, the Highlander or something, or?
Is the Master of Whispers always, like, crippled in some way? Because Larry's at a clubfoot, right?
And he was the Lord of Harrenhal, so I was like, what is he doing being Master of Whispers? Unless he wasn't eligible to be Lord, but he, like, left his...
And what's up with this House of Strong? I thought it was a bastard name at first, but...
They're everywhere now, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we've got a Sir Robert Strong. So. Anyway, here is a very interesting point of this novella. Blood and cheese. A terrible combination of names. But yeah, so Blood is a gold cloak who had lost his cloak for beating a whore to death, and she was a rat catcher in the Red Keep. And I love that we go back to the hidden doors and secret tunnels that Maegor the Cruel had built. As the rat catcher obviously knows all of these, and we go right here to like the lack of security with Tower of and then keeping up those walls that our little bro Tyrion eventually finds himself in.
Doesn't this prove though that it wasn't Tywin that built the secret passageway?
Suck my dick, all of you who thought Tywin had.
No, hold on a second.
No.
That's a tunnel to that place. That doesn't mean that
prove anything.
that's different from just getting.
Well, maybe
to
it's
the
not
tower.
built yet, but it's still what they used. Maybe they built the whorehouse over top of it.
No, but did they go in from a whorehouse to get there? They just went into the Tower of the Hand from a tunnel. That other tunnel is the one that goes to the whorehouse.
Whatever. Stop besmirching Tywin. Thing.
That proves absolutely nothing. What
Yeah,
are you
proves
talking about? Yeah, high five, I mean.
Yeah.
You ladies don't know what you're talking about.
You just don't know.
Especially Mimi.
Shut up! You have said that rats were born pregnant.
No, Amin said rats are born pregnant. I said Godzilla is born pregnant.
Rat Godzilla. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, apparently some horrible shit happened in here. They bind up Queen Alicent. Queen Helena comes and brings the children to see their grandmother. And, this is truly terrible. So, at this point, I no longer felt that good about Prince Daemon and Rhaenyra. Blood rapes the little girl and makes Helena pick which son to kill.
No, I don't think he actually.
No,
rapes
she
her,
doesn't.
thankfully, but he
threatens to.
threatens to do it. Yeah.
No. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
But he strangles her bedmate, which, like, for example, doesn't seem like it was necessary. It just seems like he just wanted to kill somebody.
Gotcha. Okay, so the little girl wasn't raped because I read Blood Grew Bored and raped her little girl. It's like, okay. So they threaten it, and so Helena says, kill the young one. He's 2, he doesn't know what's going on. And of course they do not, and they kill the older one. That's some psychological fuckery right there. Then that obviously was sort of the end of Queen Helena's sanity. Totally.
Well, she didn't. Did she know that was happening?
What do you mean?
Well, it was Darren.
The one who did it.
Yeah,
like, he
was
knew
she
for sure.
informed? Like, did she get a? Did she
Rhaenyra?
say a go ahead? Go ahead.
Probably. I mean, son for a son. That was.
That's what he said. But I mean, like, it's hard to tell. Like, the thing is, why didn't they kill Aemond? That's the one they would have killed. Would have made sense, right? Would have been more fair.
Well, they said because he was surrounded by gold cloaks, or the king.
No, I mean, he wasn't even there. I mean, Aegon. Yeah,
Aegon,
they couldn't kill the king, which would have been smart just to end the war, maybe. But
should have just killed old
guy who
Lana.
killed the kid.
Oh, yeah. I'm guessing he wasn't there.
That would have been fair, but they just killed this guy. But I mean, like, even tactically, if they're going to, like, first of all, it would be better if they could kidnap them. I don't know if that's possible. But if you're going to kill somebody, if you're going to dare, actually killing Helena would have been better, because she was a dragon rider. Now, they're lucky that she went sad and didn't do anything, but what if she'd gone, like, crazy, angry? What if she got angry from this?
The idea is that Aegon, under Aegon II's regime or whatever, one of Rhaenyra's sons was killed. So Rhaenyra wanted to kill one of Aegon II's sons. Does that make sense? Not his brother, but his son.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that her son was there as an envoy, which not as a knight. I think if he was killed in battle, that would have been something different. But because he was basically killed in cold blood, they wanted one of their sons killed in cold blood.
Yeah.
It's their messed up sense of loyalty. It's okay because this happened, but not okay if this happened.
Tribbles are born pregnant. That's what I was thinking of. And seahorses, the male gives birth. The male gets pregnant. And
This is not a trivia podcast.
Wouldn't that make it the female?
The males are
Didn't
pregnant.
the Klingons wipe out the Tribbles, though?
They did, yes.
Yeah, but then they came back because of the time travel thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, anyways, moving on.
Okay, moving on. So, what is the next thing that happens? The next major thing that happens is
Fucking dragons fight. That's what happens.
dragons fighting. So Criston Cole, fucking ultimate dickhead of the year, he goes and he just starts fucking up the Riverlands, I guess, right?
I don't even remember. They just all hell breaks
Even
loose.
before the Riverland, I think they're doing the nearby areas first.
Right. They take Duskendale first.
Yeah.
And then they go to Rook's Rest. Lord Staunton was like, "Hey, what's up, Rhaenyra? I'm a Queen's man. Come help me."
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra doesn't come, but Rhaenys does. So that 55-year-old badass grandmother, apparently.
The queen who
I'm
never
gonna cosplay her
was.
in 40 years.
What?
In 40 years, I'm gonna cosplay her.
She shows up with her dragon, Melis.
She sounded hardcore. I liked her.
Yeah, she sounds badass. And just her. And of course they had sprung the trap for her.
Ugh.
So that is truly Aegon 2 on Sunfire and Aemond, fucking old One Eye on Velaryon. And that was Criston Cole's traps. And Rhaenys had come to save Lord Staunton. She gets fucked up. But to her credit, she does not try to run away. She goes to town on those bros.
There's also a theory that Aemond tried to kill Aegon in that fight.
Oh, really?
Where did that rumor come from?
He attacked after Aegon.
You mean like let him get killed, basically.
Yeah, well, he didn't join it was Aegon and Rhaenys that fought, their dragons came together first and then his dragon added on.
Yeah.
So basically he kind of
burned
them both.
Yeah, he was a little slow about it, yeah.
I feel like there would be a million chances for Aegon to accidentally die later on while he was healing in King's Landing for that to be true. Like
That's
if
true.
Aemond had tried to kill them then, he
there.
would have made sure he was dead at some point during his recovery in King's Landing.
That's a good point.
He strikes me as the kind of guy who doesn't really think about these things.
Yeah.
So, but right here, right off the bat, Sunfire has one wing half torn from his body, and Aegon 2 obviously gets pretty fucked up, and
Yeah.
He gets the armor like melted onto his body.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so Rhaenys dies there, but at least she took out half of a dragon and half of a king.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really when Aegon 2 is like right at the beginning of this. He just fucked over. He is not in good shape anymore. And obviously then Sunfire takes off, only to mysteriously return toward the end of this later. So now
he's stuck there, though. Like for a while he's just stuck on the ground. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you're right. He hasn't taken off at this point yet.
Yeah.
He cannot fly very well. So now Aemond is gonna rule the realm because Aegon 2 is chilling with Milk of the Poppy now until the end of his life probably. So he takes the crown and he has named himself Protector of the Realm and Prince Regent. So I love that they refer to him as One-Eyed Aemond the Kinslayer, obviously Kinslayer because he killed Luke.
Yep.
But I love that reminded me of Bloodraven. Except he's like a significantly less cool Bloodraven because he doesn't do anything.
Well, he's like a Bloodraven Jaime Lannister mix.
Yeah. So Aemond is
Kamikaze.
all trying to get his nuncle, cause he thinks that Daemon is the real.
Uncle.
Yeah.
Queen Rhaenyra is not doing too well. Obviously, her son died. She had that scale baby. And,
Oof.
she's obviously having some trouble with her hand right now because he just lost his wife.
And he loved her. You can see like they had a good relationship, I think. Like,
Yeah.
He's mad about
Well, his wife was badass and he knew it.
Yeah, she was.
Now Jace is gonna be, the forefront, her second son. And, he helps patch things up, names, Lord Velaryon, Hand of the Queen. And then they plan their assault on King's Landing. So with him heading this, it seems like things are gonna go pretty well for her.
Is this the time when they start getting new dragon riders?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they've got all these wild dragons with dead riders, and they got to figure out how to get new riders to bring them into the fold so they can have the power.
Don't forget that the little sons, his half brothers, Aegon the Younger and Lucerys, age 9 and 7, who were the kids from the second marriage from Rhaenyra and Daemon, sent off on a ship called the Gay Abandon, which is like, come on, what are you doing?
Gay abandon.
That's just, come on. So they got on the ship with their one dragon and little Viserys with his egg.
Rhaenyra made that ship, by the way, I guess, whoever that guy was. He's the one who named it. Yeah.
You know that
I don't understand. It's like George wrote this and was like, the podcast of Ice and Fire is going to cover this, and they have the sense of humor of a 13-year-old. So let's name this ship Gay Abandoned.
Thanks, George.
Here's the low-hanging fruit podcast of Ice.
Oh man,
God.
abandoned.
All I'm picturing is Rhaenyra having like cruise parties on it now.
Disco ball comes down. We work hard, we play hard.
It's a dragon flying up, just shooting fire in the air for fireworks.
It sounds like a party boat, you guys. I'm jealous. But yeah, Prince Jacaerys says he needs more dragon riders, so then we talk about, and like, I don't understand why these people are even trying, because this does not sound like a fun attempt.
Yeah, but if you get a dragon, You can almost become king, as we find out later on.
Yeah, so Sea Smoke, Vermithor, Silverwing, who didn't have riders, are tamed by Ulf the White.
Good guy.
Great guy. Hugh the Hammer.
Even better guy.
And Addam of Hull. 15-year-old. Which is really interesting because Addam of Hull proves himself by flying Sea Smoke. And Lord Corlys was like, what's up? He got a dragon, so let's legitimize him and make him my heir. Did he not have a kid?
He had daughters.
Wait, whose heir does he become?
Lord Corlys, Velaryon.
Damn.
Maybe he just lost his wife and like really needed someone. But
He's just a good kid, you know?
Yeah, well, it's just they don't know of his origin, so he may have some connection. We don't know.
And then we hear about the other 3 wild dragons, Sheep Stealer, an ugly dragon, Grey Ghost, a shy one, and Cannibal, an awesome one. Aw, Cannibal.
Now, Cannibal's the only one that doesn't get tamed, right?
No, Grey Ghost doesn't get tamed.
It gets killed, I think. It goes.
So Sheep Stealer is the only one that gets tamed, and that's by a 16-year-old girl who was foul-mouthed, filthy, and fearless, my hero. First and last rider of the dragon Sheep Stealer. And honestly, her plan doesn't sound that cunning. I feel like when you are trying to tame a monstrous creature, you do bring them food. It just seems like the natural thing to do.
Yeah, but she took her time.
Do you guys believe that this shows that Targaryens don't have to, or did she have a drop of Targaryen blood in her?
I don't know, black-haired, brown-eyed, and brown-skinned.
Well, they make a point of talking about how, like, almost everyone that lives around Dragonstone has some sort of Targaryen blood, because they slept with everyone.
Seeds, right?
Yeah.
Well,
is that what they were called? The seeds?
Dragonseeds, yeah, eventually just called the seeds.
Dragonseeds, yeah. That's
I think the blood helps.
A lot of wild
I
oats.
think that anybody could technically do it if they have the right. Maybe I don't think it has to be Targaryen blood, but
I agree.
It helps.
I want to believe that you don't have to be Targaryen.
Yeah.
I want to believe.
You guys, then the party boat gets captured. Fuck everything. Otto Hightower was meeting with the Tyroshans. Send out 90 warships, and so the gay bandit gets captured. Little Prince Aegon does manage to escape in time. He gets on his dragon Stormcloud and comes back. Stormcloud doesn't make it, but Aegon does. Now, Prince Viserys, did we find out what happened to him, the 7-year-old? He tries to dress himself up as a ship's boy, but he gets sold out.
We know he is not dead. And that's it.
Yeah.
They think that he's dead, but he's not dead. He's just probably kept captive and then comes around later.
So is that one of the dragon eggs that Daenerys ends up with?
They have Rhea Vapentos with 3 eggs. I think that might be it. But she's in the Vale. Rhaenyra Vapentos.
But, so Prince Jacaerys hears about this. He takes 5 dragons to the sea. So, you know you're fucked.
The bloodiest naval battle in Westeros history.
But then here we go. We lose.
I gotta ask, how did they just assume that Viserys at that point was dead? Because, shouldn't they assume that he was captured and not burn every ship they saw?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dragons don't give a shit.
I think they assumed he was dead. I mean, I think that guy actually becomes king as well, I think, eventually.
Yeah.
But,
so we lose Vermax here, and we lose Jacaerys. And at this point, I was like, basically everyone's gonna die. This is all that's gonna happen in this.
I preempted that in the beginning.
One son after another. And what was that called? That was the battle in the Gullet, right? Yeah.
Daemon that caused all this trouble with the free cities, I think. They were his enemies, right?
Yeah, whatever he was getting up to on the Stepstones.
The Battle of the Gullet was one of the bloodiest sea battles in history. They reduced 90 warships to 28.
Jesus.
And the Valaryon fleet lost almost a third of its strength. We lose the second son of Rhaenyra as well as a dragon. Driftmark was burned. So
Spice Town, yeah. But was that happen like before the battle, or some of the ships get split up? Like I don't understand like when the sacking happened versus the sea battle. It's kind of tricky.
I feel like the sacking would happen after, but
maybe during. I mean, maybe some just made
some of them split off, made it there, and some
yeah.
Okay.
So then we have the fish feed, right? Happened not too long ago. So that wasn't until later. There was the battle on the Honeywine, I guess.
So many battles.
The next one was the battle on the Honeywine because Ormond Hightower was flanked and outnumbered in the Reach, and it was a pretty bitter defeat for the Blacks. So the Hightower got out of this alive because Daemon showed up with his dragon Tessarion.
That Daemon is just flying all over the place.
Well, this is the first time Daemon's shown up, right?
Oh, is it?
I think he was put to guard Old Town. Like, it's interesting that they put different dragons to guard different places because they're needed there, right?
So the Blacks have suffered a bunch of defeats at this point, because even though they've got more dragons, the Sack of Duskendale and the Battle of Rook's Rest, they lost a dragon and they lost Rhaenys, and then Battle in the Gullet, they lost their king, or I guess their prince. And then Battle on the Honeywine, it was a crushing defeat for them. So it seems like the Blacks aren't doing that well. And Lord Valaryon was like, shit, maybe we should just bend the knee. But the Queen, depressed and despondent over losing one son after losing the second, that just lights a fire in her ass. So she decides that she's going to rain fire and blood upon Aegon. And meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, Aemond Targaryen feels the same way. He is really concerned about Prince Daemon.
Yes.
Not so worried about Rhaenyra. He thinks Daemon is the threat, and he wants to bring the battle to his uncle at Harrenhal. And the Green Council is like, hey, that's probably not a good idea. Maybe we should wait until we have more than one dragon to go to Harrenhal. Or One Eye doesn't listen. He takes off. And he takes Vhagar with him. Then I guess what we have here after that is the conquest of the capital, right?
Well, right before that, I think they tried to kill Sunfire. Like some of
yeah, you're right. Wallace Mooton, Lord of Maidenpool, brave, stupid man, takes the 109th out of Maidenpool and to join up with the Crabs and the Bruins of Cracklaw Point and the Celtigars of Claw Isle, and they decide to try to put an end to the dragon Sunfire. Not a great idea. Sunfire, even though he is on the ground, still pulling shit out.
Yeah, they seem to forget that he can still breathe fire.
It would be a key point that they would put in their battle strategy.
And when Lord Manfred goes to his brother, Lord Manfred, goes to see what's up, he realizes that everyone's dead and Sunfire is gone. No tracks of him being dragging himself away. He obviously had taken flight with his shitty wings. Yep. So that's when Sunfire disappears.
Not to be seen until the end of the war.
Right. And so around this time, Rhaenyra Targaryen finally gets on her dragon and decides to take the capital. And it's a good time because One Eye and Vhagar have flown the coop for Harrenhal. So
somebody else went with him to Harrenhal, though, right?
No, they said to wait for Daemon, but he just took off by himself.
Did he?
I
felt like
Criston
he went
Cole,
with
I think, went with the force. Like he was taking the men on the ground.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yes, because they took all the knights out, or they took all the main force.
Aemond and Cole left. So Daemon takes flight to King's Landing along with his wife. It's a great time because you only have
fucking great time.
It's a great time. It's a wonderful time for everyone. There's only Dreamfire and like some half-grown hatchlings to oppose the Queen's dragon. The young dragons left in the capital had never been ridden, and Dreamfire's rider, obviously Queen Helena, had gone insane. So there was really no point.
Yeah, so they took it in less than a day.
Mm-hmm.
And King's Landing is mentioned like strongly a few times, like they have strong walls and things like that. I'm like, that's not true later on, I think. I think they've worn down over time.
Oh, and I love this. Queen Alicent was like, let's protect the city, and the gold cloaks totally turned.
Yeah.
When Hightower denounced him as a turned cloak, Sir Luther laughed. Daemon gave us these cloaks, he said, and they're gold no matter how you turn them.
Oh.
And the gold cloaks opened the city gates to the sea snake ships. So yeah, King's Landing fell immediately, and at this point it seems like a pretty good deal for the Blacks. Queen Alicent yields the keys to the castle.
Did anyone else think that this was the end of the story and then realize they were only halfway through?
A lot more, yeah.
The Queen asks, like, the Queen's like, oh, we should have a council, and then Rhaenyra's like, no, we know what the council would say. That was interesting. Like a Queen council would go against Rhaenyra.
It was the same council that crowned the other guy.
Right, and the same council stole her birthright.
Yeah.
Well, then, look what happens. They couldn't find King Aegon II.
Gone.
That could have been the war if he was there, maybe. At least a lot of that would have been important, but he wasn't. He got away.
The 6-year-old daughter and the 2-year-old and probably psychologically broken Prince Maelor, along with Kingsguard Knights, right? Willis Fell and Rickard of the Kingsguard, all gone. So,
gone.
Typical Varys behavior.
I know, that Larry's.
Yeah.
Larry. I'm gonna call him Larry from now on. Larry the Clubfoot.
So then we get this very one-sided account from the previous Maester here, that when Rhaenyra Targaryen sits on the throne, she's all cut up. But what do you expect when you sit on a throne made of swords? So that's the idea that the Iron Throne had spurned her, and her days upon it would be few. I mean, we all knew this going in, right? Like, we all knew Rhaenyra had been eaten by a dragon. So that was something that had made its way down through history that we read about in Dunk and Egg, actually.
Well, I forget these things.
Yeah, when everyone has the same name in this book, it's hard.
Yeah,
we knew that
I get all the
she'd lose
Targaryens mixed up.
Yeah.
They all have the same name. I don't remember what happens to which. Okay.
So the next thing that happens after conquest of the capital is the battle by the lakeshore, which is also called the Fishfeed. That is when the Lannisters march east to back up the Greens, and then they get surrounded by the Northmen and Rivermen from three sides and forced into the water of the God's Eye. Lannister forces were brutally slaughtered, but also somehow, even though they were surrounding their enemy, the Blacks took a lot of casualties as well.
Because they had Lannister spearmen and the stupid cavalry just ran into it over and over again. Like Roddy the Ruin was dumb in this battle. Like he was like, does the same strategy every time, just charge. Like it doesn't.
Well, isn't this the one where the Northmen like beg to be first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was like one Northman for every 10 of their men. Like one North Big.
Oh, that happens a little later, actually. Oh. But I did underline that because it reminds me of what that bro told Arya.
Yeah. Well, see, that one they were going against other cavalry. This one they're going against spearmen, but they just do the same thing every time, just charge.
But this one was supposedly horrible, like just dead bodies everywhere. Ugh.
Yeah.
So, Aemond and Targaryen and Criston Cole at Harrenhal, how stupid do you feel when you get there and Prince Daemon is not there and you find out that your throne has been taken?
Hey, look, an empty castle. Ugh. Yeah.
Poor Aemond, probably crying bitter tears from his single eye.
He almost strangles the messenger. That's the part when he starts going really crazy.
Yeah, and this is when he starts reminding you of all of the shitty Targaryens, like Aegon Brightfire and all of those Bright Flame or whatever.
Well, he goes so crazy that he ends up just saying, whatever, Criston Cole, do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. March south and join them. I'm going off on my own. Whatever. And he just like flies off.
Yeah, with his bedmate
taken up with someone. Is she a red priestess? Like
Alice
she
Rivers. She can see into the fires that we find later. That's really interesting.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he just grabs some chick who reads flames and takes off.
Well, that's what you do during war, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Criston Cole, for all of his dickheadedness, urges caution and says, come on, let's get with your brother, get with that dragon.
We've got to muster our forces.
We get Dreamfire saddled up and...
Yeah, well, look what happened to him.
Yeah.
His plan doesn't end too well either, does it?
Well, they parted ways.
If they'd been together, it would have worked, though. He needed a dragon cover for him.
Maybe. So what happens to Criston Cole? He goes south to join forces with Daemon, right? And Hightower?
Yeah, he's aiming to do that, yeah.
Yeah, and they get attacked by somebody.
More importantly, you guys, this small council gets murdered and tortured.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Otto Hightower, Ironrod both get executed. Tywin Lannister was tortured in hopes of getting more gold from him.
Say Tywin Lannister?
Tylan.
Oh, okay.
So who do you think on the council was Daemon's spy? Like, because a lot of them are killed off here. So who was the spy? I don't know.
I don't know. Would it be crazy if that Varys 1.0?
Yeah. If he was playing both sides. If he was playing both sides,
Larry?
it could be him. Like, because he helps out Aegon, but maybe he was playing both sides. Then it could be him. Because I thought it was Ironrod. Like, because he was so over the top. I thought he was pretending to be, but then he gets killed right here. So I was like, okay, it wasn't him.
It wasn't. She just didn't
know. Varys knows the way into like the towers, so he could have like helped that with that too. Like he has the knowledge both ways of sneaking in. So I don't know.
Might have been hedging his bets.
True.
Maybe he stole some of the heirs. Like remember he splits the heirs up and he sends them away. Maybe he like has them hidden away like Varys does with the kid Maelor and.
But this is the point where we hear that Rhaenys, nobody likes her. Rhaenyra, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
King Maegor with teats. So she was quite cruel.
Oh, Maegor's teats!
She raised taxes, therefore they hated her.
Yeah, so if you raise the taxes, the people will revolt. The lords will.
Obviously, she never played SimCity.
I'm just going to scream Maegor's teats whenever I'm upset from here on out.
I think you should.
Yeah.
This part where it says like the throne was cutting her, was that again a quote from that guy, or is it somebody else?
Yep.
Because there's no quotes though. The quote is removed. Anyways, moving on. But I mean, that also shows she was just agitated and paranoid, right? That she was just fidgety and you sit on a throne.
No. Yeah, she was.
So the Kingmaker marches from Harrenhal towards King's Landing, but guerrilla tactics surrounding him the whole time. And, Aemond had abandoned him and took the dragon, so Cole had nothing. And, 3,600 men versus 7,000 blacks they meet up with at the God's Eye, and Cole was murdered in battle. I kind of thought that his death would be a lot more prolific, but just killed in battle like the rest of everybody else in this entire thing.
Well, how they did it was pretty awesome. Along the way, the blacks had set up like these makeshift camps with just occupied by just dead bodies everywhere. And so they kept passing these camps that were had all these dead bodies grotesquely positioned like around a campfire or hanging out at the tree or whatnot. And then finally, it got to be so casual that they came across another one, and in fact it was actual live soldiers, and so they just kind of walked in and got surrounded by this fake/real camp, and then they got attacked, which was awesome. I thought that was so cool.
Wonder whose idea that was.
I think they were praised there, right?
You gotta think about the planning for that. Like, what happened if the army just, bypassed them and those guys are just sitting there wondering, well, okay, when are they gonna come?
Chilling forever.
They get sick from the disease.
They saw the first camp of dead bodies and okay, we're gonna take a different route. We're not dealing with this.
So at this point, we read about Aemond being the terror of the Trident, when he just lost his goddamn mind, is just chilling on his dragon, descending occasionally to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, Riverlands get screwed over in this battle. I mean, in this war.
Everything gets screwed over.
Riverlands in particular, though.
The Riverlands, it seems like a horrible place to live.
Yeah.
The North is doing all right.
Yeah, so Riverlands in particular.
Ugh.
Winter comes, which is interesting, in the middle of the battle.
Oh yeah, they send out the White Ravens.
The Triarchy is breaking itself apart, which, I mean, we know that they're not unified later on, so it's interesting maybe if this had an effect.
Did you say the Cherokee?
Triarchy.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa. Things just got a little real for a second there.
Old Corlys here was giving some pretty good counsel, Spare them, send them to the wall, but Rhaenyra and Daemon think that giving pardons to rebels and traitors would only sow the seeds of discontent. So he's like, we gotta mount heads of traitors, and that is kind of the bottom line. But Rhaenyra decides to steer a middle course, send envoys to Storm's End and Casterly Rock, offering fair terms and pardons after she puts an end to the usurper's brothers.
Yeah, they wanted to have Jaehaera marry Aegon the Younger, which is what happens eventually. So this would have been a good place to still stop the war and have some dragons left over. But
now let's squander them all. So Daemon decides to take Caraxes to the Trident along with Nettles' future lover and Sheepstealer to find Aemond and Vhagar and put an end to them. It seems like the thing to do. I think, Aemond has to go. Vhagar has to go. They're the biggest threats.
Yeah.
So Ulf White and Hardhugh Hammer, both upstanding fine gentlemen, Tumbleton, which was the last stronghold, I guess, between Lord Hightower and the city to assist in defense of the town and destroy Daeron and Tessarion, who are obviously also a threat.
I feel so bad for this one town.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep reading. It was just so horrible. Every page it was like a new thing happened to them.
Is this Timbleton?
Tumbleton.
Yeah.
Tumbleton?
Yeah.
Yes.
Suckers.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
The Targaryen side is showing, Kyle.
That's to be those guys.
How did you feel when it's like the Lannister and Baratheons should be destroyed, utterly? It's like, oh wow. It didn't go there, but it's like...
Yeah, I knew that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So the Tumbleton forces were all gathered under Queen Rhaenyra's banner, and they were outnumbered by Lord Hightower's men. So they were like, oh, what's up? We're so excited to see these dragons come join us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, what's happening? Battle of Tumbleton was a clusterfuck.
Oh, God. Do you guys think that these two kind of just knew that they were just gonna switch sides and betray, or do you think they were just going with how they felt the wind was blowing, or what do you think?
And it's like,
what do
it
you think
doesn't make
pushed him over
sense
the edge?
because Rhaenyra seems to have a pretty, other than discontent in the city, she's got the throne, she's got the most dragons. They just really needed to eliminate 2 threats, Aemond and Daemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking.
It was just a personal ploy for power, I guess, or they were bribed by some of the people on.
Maybe there was some more subterfuge behind that, or it could have just been if they knew that they did this and stood behind Rhaenyra, no one got a shot at the throne. Yeah. But it's crazy that they thought they were going to have a shot at the throne anyway, or at least Hugh thought that.
Maybe they were just really, really stupid.
Yep.
It says something about the sanctity of dragon riders, right?
Now, somebody said, does that mean that Velaryon could get a drag? Because if Hugh the Hammer can get one.
Yeah.
I don't know, I actually might like that.
Well, I fully admit Victarion's an idiot.
Aww.
Yeah, but if Hugh the Hammer could get dragon, then Velaryon could. If it's not required to have any of the trace of Targaryen blood.
Hugh the Hammer.
And this is when we read that the Northmen fought their ways through 10 times their own number to where Lord Ormond Hightower sat on his warhorse. So, and crazy Roddy the Ruin, I guess the Lord of Velaryon fought on after fucking losing his goddamn arm.
I killed like
Hightower and Lord Ormond Hightower, so there goes the leader of that side. They were still outnumbered, and then Tessarion shows up, and they were like, don't worry about it, we've got Vermithor and Silverwing, and then the 2 betrayers turn their fires upon Tumbleton, and all hell breaks loose.
So who are the, who are Rhaenyra's, dragons that die in this one? Like who?
Well, in this first battle, no dragons die, I think.
No?
Yes,
was it just
Vermithor, they join Tessarion.
Yeah. Oh, so they were sent on their own? Just those 2 guys?
Yeah, those 2 were sent on their own and they switched.
They were sent to fortify Tumbleton since Rhaenyra's holding it.
I thought there was a 3rd, but no. Gotcha.
And of course, back home on, in King's Landing, now Rhaenyra is worried. Rhaenyra is worried. She's got the 2 betrayers, and so many voices in the Black Council are like, okay, well, obviously those 2 baseborn assholes turned on you. Addam, who was baseborn and a bastard, how do you know he's loyal? Only Lord Corlys spoke in defense of him, remarking that Sir Addam and his brother Alan were true heirs and they were the worthy of Driftmark. But Rhaenyra at this point went to Cersei level paranoia and commanded Sir Luther Largent to arrest Addam Velaryon in the Dragonpit. Corlys goes and forewarns him because I guess he looks at Addam like a son,
Yeah.
And so Addam is able to flee away with sea smoke. And of course, by ordering that arrest, the queen loses a dragon and she loses her hand, of course. Corlys is beaten and imprisoned, so she and her father-in-law strained relations at this point.
Oh, God. And she sends people after, well, this is the whole Nettles thing coming up,
Yeah. And of course you imprison Lord Corlys, who is pretty much your only link to power on the sea.
Yeah.
The army that sailed from Dragonstone was like,
paranoia.
This was truly Cersei level stupidity. Wow.
Yeah.
Sometime actually a little before this, of course, we hear that Grey Ghost is killed. And people are thinking that it was cannibal, but of course we find out later it was not.
Above Dragonstone.
Yes. Okay, so then we go back to Tumbleton, you guys.
Poor bastards.
The queen, paranoid that all these new dragon riders are going to betray her, sends this word to the Lord of Tumbleton that he is to kill her.
Oh, this is separate from that.
It's separate. Isn't that what happens?
Nettles isn't there. Nettles is somewhere else, right?
Yeah, she's up north.
Yeah.
This
is in Tumbleton. We have the 2 douchebags trying to play.
Oh yes. Okay. Excuse me. Yes.
And at this point in the novella, we're just kind of talking about the worst crimes being committed by the 2 betrayers. Ulf is just drinking all day long, and feeding his dragon. And Hugh is trying to call himself Lord Hammer. I'm sorry, Lord Hammer.
Lord Hammer, right.
He's Captain Hammer.
The hammer is my penis.
Particularly in bed, he demands to be called Lord Hammer.
As I'm reading this, he's just wearing hammer pants in my.
And he thinks he's gonna be king.
Right.
Well, who's gonna stop him?
The thing is, you're not going to be dragon 24/7. You could just get killed at some point if you have no clue.
But, they haven't really fully turned over to the Blacks because they don't seem eager to help Prince Daeron attack King's Landing. They just want to stop and have hammer time at Tumbleton. So they're just chilling out there. And then we go to Maidenpool, and this was, a tricky situation for Lord Mooton of Maidenpool. He gets a letter that says, that he's to deliver the head of the bastard girl Nettles, who has become Prince Daemon's lover and whom the Queen has therefore judged guilty of high treason. And this is the lashing out of her paranoia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think she really cares because I really do think they had an open marriage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody was sleeping with everybody. I think that was the pretext because she was worried about a bastard dragon rider.
That's strumpet.
So, poor Lord Mooton. He knows if he tries to get Nettles, then he's gonna be destroyed by the dragons and Daemon. Then if he doesn't, then Maidenpool's gonna get destroyed by the Queen. So, Maester Norrin, coolest Maester ever, takes it upon himself to warn Daemon. And Daemon, very romantically says goodbye to Nettles, and she gets on old Sheep Stealer and flies away, never to be seen again. So she's spared all of that.
May I put another theory out there?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. There are people who think that she was maybe his daughter.
What?
Huh?
And that's why they were close and not for other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mean like they weren't actually sleeping together?
Right. They were not. And that they were close because she was a bastard of his.
They were in the same bed, but he was just reading her bedtime stories, not having sex with her.
I'm just wanted to put all the options out there.
Well, if they actually weren't having relations and it was a daughter, that's a better thing on the Daemon.
Well, it seems like this departure has really gotten Daemon a bit down because then he basically was like, I'm going to my death now, the dance over Harrenhal.
Here's just a quick question in terms of so they did the little trick with the Maester, so they didn't read the letter, but then at the end he just puts the and changes the flag. Well, they don't even need that trick then. He could have just changed the flag in the first place. So I don't understand why they then switched their flag and went over to...
I think that after it happened, it just kind of was like, you know what?
Whatever.
I'm pissed that I was put in this position. Yeah. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, afterwards, it's not like he can keep flying the flag because if Rhaenyra shows up, she's gonna kill him anyway.
But I just mean the whole point of the deception was that they could get out of that no-win situation, and then he just makes the decision that he could have made anyways. They could have just whatever.
That was Lord Mooton claiming responsibility for his Maester's decision. He could have easily said, "Oh, I didn't know anything about this."
That was the whole idea, right? So
it was pretty noble. He stood behind him. It was like, well, if you're a traitor, then I'm a traitor, and we might as well just change our.
Yeah. Where do you guys think Nettles went? Is her dragon still alive in this world?
After the war, it is, anyways.
I think she went to Pentos, and they're the dragon head eggs.
That could be one source.
Maybe
them, I
three.
Guess, yeah. But as I said, there's a Rhea of Pentos, or whatever, Reign of Pentos, the 3 eggs.
But that's because she was born in Pentos.
So she maybe doesn't go back there.
I don't know.
But she could have an impact somewhere, yeah. We will find out, I guess, what she did over there.
And then, you guys, my favorite word shows up, nuncle.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Good nuncle.
Daemon on Caraxes and old One Eye on Vagar.
Above the God's Eye.
Above the God's Eye. And Daemon Targaryen does the coolest thing ever.
So badass.
Jumps from one dragon to the other. In his hand was Dark Sister, the sword of Queen Visenya. And as old One Eye looked up in terror, Daemon ripped off his nephew's helm and drove the sword down into his blind eye. So hard that the point came out the back of the young prince's throat.
Oh, he jumped from dragon to dragon.
And at that point I knew I would hit it.
And apparently after that, both dragons decide to fall into the water.
Well, weren't they mid-fall? Weren't they like tangled and falling as he jumped from one to the other?
Yeah.
They were in free fall when he jumped over to the other one and ripped off his helm and shoved it through his eye.
The singers tell us the old prince survived the fall and afterward made his way back to the girl Nettles to spend the remainder of his days at her side. Aw.
Aw, that's so romantic.
I think he swam to the God's Eye and hung out with the green men.
Just chilling. It's like, what's up, guys?
So here we go. War Dragons Lost. Names scrolling Hunger Games style. Daemon Targaryen, Prince Aemond, Vagar, and Caraxes. All dead.
Yeah.
Just right before the battle, was it Aemond was like carving. No, Daemon was carving stuff into the tree at Harrenhal. That was interesting.
Yeah, he notched every day.
Maybe that's mentioned somewhere in the books, or like Bran will see it. The fact that he was there.
This next part, guys, is not fun at all and sounds familiar to those of us who have read the books proper. Of course, the riots at King's Landing.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Hey,
I remember,
I
hate King's Landing.
I hate King's Landing. Dude, people got slaughtered in this place.
Yeah.
Oh.
It sounds like the worst goddamn place to live. Like
It also seemed like a lot of people were trying to leave earlier and they kept them there. Why didn't they just let them go if they're going to be that hard to leave the city? Earlier they were trying to leave the city, they kept them in the city.
Yeah, she lost a bunch of her she lost Daemon already, then she loses her loyal Luther Largent and Laurent Marbrand.
How about the new king that arises?
What's his face?
Sir Perkin.
Oh, Sir Perkin. What happens to him?
Sir Perkin and his gutter knights.
Dude, he had like the whole city running for him for a second there. They don't really talk about how he came to an end or anything, huh?
No.
Well, didn't when Aegon's army come in, they have to cut through them all?
Maybe? I don't know.
We haven't seen that.
I just like that knight. That knight was just like, you all want to be knights? All right, let's do this. He's like, swear your allegiance to my king, and here we go.
Well, I've always wondered, why don't knights just do that? Like, what happens if someone knights someone and they're just like running around knighting everybody?
They do that for
Well,
selling. Or they could just fake it. I mean, there's no way of knowing.
You don't
You could
make
probably
a
make
knight.
a good living off of that. I'll knight you for $10.
You don't knight somebody who's gonna do that.
That's the idea.
That's the idea,
It's
yeah.
basically like going to like a shit college, basically, to get it.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
All those ones up in
My
Canada.
UTD diploma felt that ice burn.
No, that doesn't count. I'm saying some community college in the middle somewhere, right?
But you guys, the
Okay.
worst part of this riot is the storming of the Dragon Pit.
Oh,
You guys,
man.
it takes a next level riot for everyone to just go try to murder 4 dragons.
Yeah,
Four
when did that ever
dragons.
seem like a good idea?
By the way, can we all note that the court fool is named Mushroom?
And yet Mushroom had the most sense.
Did you think, did you think that was a Tough Voyaging reference?
Oh, the cat.
Yeah.
Could
Mushroom.
be, yeah.
Aw.
Interesting. Yeah.
But anyway, Mushroom was like, hey, drunken man knows not fear, and a fool can kill a king, and 1,000 rats can bring down a bear. And,
That was pregnant.
You know,
And they
the
1,000 pregnant rats.
yeah, well, there was a feast for pregnant rats in this story, so at this point.
Well, and Lil Joffrey,
Yeah, little Joffrey.
Oh, what a dumbass.
this is why you always listen to
No,
your...
at least he was brave. He was trying to do something as the queen.
Brave and
Like, oh, we don't care
stupid.
about the
That's a
dragons.
terrible
Mom, they might kill the
combination.
dragons. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, but he didn't know, just like his mom said. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Y'all,
He
the
doesn't
dragons
understand.
shit. And this is when we hear that, Dreamfire knew of Queen Helena's death. I guess we skipped over that point. Queen Helena definitely did murder herself.
Oh, I got another crackpot.
Go ahead.
The Elaine's River was pregnant with a shadow baby, and that shadow baby killed Elaine's.
I read that one.
Yeah, the shadow baby I get, but why would he go for that target? Why didn't he just kill?
Oh, they foresaw what chaos it would create.
Well, just kill the freaking queen. Like, unless she's being like Cersei and causing more trouble, and they want to keep her alive.
Wanted to crush her.
I don't really know. I think it's a tenuous connection between Queen Helena's death and then chaos. I mean, well, I guess unless you're
This
coming
makes
from
sense as a target.
that,
I get the shadow baby.
Like the small folk, right? Because they loved her.
Hmm.
But I think they were already rioting anyway. So.
Well, her dragon killed a lot of people.
Well, I guess, that's a good point. I think that everyone was mad, but Helena's death was the spark to ignite the riot. So.
That seems not a good target. I don't think it's a good target. Maybe they did it.
And what was that rumor they briefly mentioned about somebody throwing her from the tower?
Yeah, that was the thing, is that Helena committed suicide, but the small folk loved her and they hated Rhaenyra, so they thought Rhaenyra had her killed.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
That's why they rioted. That and also taxes.
Taxes.
So, I mean, Shepard is the one who tells, first of all, the story he tells seems like a hellfire, like kind of like stories like, oh yeah, they'll burn and they'll be danced naked and nude in the flames and your skin and all this will happen. But
What are you saying?
no, he said like one of those preachers talks about hellfire. That's basically what he's talking about, right? But also, the Shepherd, I was interested. Do you think like, and he's missing an arm? I wonder if he was just like, he was a shepherd on Dragonstone and he got his arm bitten off by like sheep stealer and that's why he hates dragons. That was interesting.
Oh, man. So, dude, how big is this dragon pit?
It's gotta be freaking huge.
Yeah. Do we actually see the dragon pit in the story? So I think we hear that it's a ruin, right? I'm just interested to see what description we get in the
I picture it like the Coliseum today, where you walk in and you just kind of see like the underground and like the main floor is all gone and everything. But I'm sure they mention it in the main books, but I'm having a hard time remembering.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so they kill 4 dragons, the mob does, right? Sharkos, Morgul, Taraxis, and Dreamfire. Dreamfire tries to escape and collapses the whole building, kills herself and everything else. Then Syrax, who didn't have a writer, just chillin', could have just left, but then actually went to the dragon pit.
It was dumb enough to go on the ground. That was the problem, right?
Yeah, and that was the question, is like, why didn't she rain fire on them from above? But she went.
Maybe without a dragon or a rider, they're
not very tactically smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they see more mentions of understanding between the bond between dragon and dragon rider and like their mind and stuff. And then like, for example, one dragon can have multiple riders over time, but only like if you're a dragon rider on one dragon, you can't go on another one. Like they will know something. But how will they know? Like if you went to a dragon that's like another continent, like unless there's some sort of mental connection or something. I think there's like a telepathic bonding. A far weaker version of like in Pern, like Anne McCaffrey's Pern, where they have like a connection. It reminded me of that. So that's my overall theory of the bond.
Yeah, I think there is definitely something metaphysical going on.
And maybe that's why I don't think it's warging, but maybe that's why warging was a danger to them and they didn't come over to the warging could overrule that metaphysical connection that you have.
Well, I mean, I don't know, like when you train a dog and everything, and then your dog doesn't run out to the next person it sees and goes, "Oh, I'm confused. Is this the guy who just trained me?" Like it knows who you are.
At least maybe not here, but in the series it mentions like you can't, like Dany could never ride another dragon. It wouldn't work. She can only ride the one.
Man, this episode is like Kyle's animal knowledge episode.
I don't picture a telepathic link. I think it's George just saying like that's your loyal pet, like that's your animal.
Well, I don't think it's like telepathic, but I think there's definitely a link that they know.
I think it's just a link that you have with your pets at home. Like your pets know who you are.
But we'll move on. We get more of that as well later on. Okay, what do we got here?
So this was it, you guys. This was the last blow. She lost her last son. Well, I mean, her last son from that marriage.
Little Joff.
And her dragon. So Rhaenyra was like, okay, I should probably leave. This place is shit. So then she was persuaded to leave the next day.
Persuaded.
Going back to Dragonstone, I guess. So she is with, the Manderley brothers, the 4 surviving Queen's Guard, Sir Balon Birch, and 20 gold cloaks. And then her very last son, Aegon, who escaped the party boat, as you wait.
I want to see that fan art.
Yeah.
And then you guys, we go back to Tumbleton.
Oh, and by the way, the Manderleys are pretty cool in the story. Like they're pretty effective.
Manderleys are always cool.
Yeah, and one of them is fat.
We go back to Tumbleton?
Yeah.
We know.
Oh yeah, it's not done.
Yeah.
We go back to Tumbleton.
What?
Yeah. The second battle of Tumbleton here, I think.
So Tumbleton hears very late of Aemond Targaryen's death. Good riddance. And, we've got Aegon II, who has not been seen since the very beginning of all of this. Aemond slain. The Greens don't have a king or a leader, so obviously Prince Daemon is next in line of succession and wanted to crown him. But the 2 betrayers with their 2 dragons, they don't feel the need to crown him. MC Hammer is like, the throne should be mine. And honestly, his dragon is the oldest and largest living dragon of all of Westeros now. So it's 3 times the size of Prince Daemon's dragon Velaryon. So Hammer thinks that his ambition is pretty much right on target.
They nail the horseshoe into the guy's head and all this crap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so brutal.
Yeah, some guy tries to stand up to him, and he gets horseshoe.
Well, Hammer is dangerous. He actually has people that follow him. The other guy is easy to kill, but Hammer...
Well, Hammer strikes me as a very kind of like Gregor Clegane sort of character, where you're like, if he's gonna, I'll run with that pack just so I don't have to face his wrath.
So the Lords and Knights of Old Town and the Breach, obviously really upset. They are, Prince Daemon's loyalists, and they decided to get together. A secret council in the cellar of the Tumbleton Inn called, the Bloody Caltrops, right?
Sounds
and
good.
They decide, what are we gonna do about these 2 bros? And so they plot to dispose of White and Hammer.
White and Hammer.
And Prince Daemon wasn't there, it's worth noting. So the conspirators became known as the Caltrops, and they present him with warrants for the execution, and Daemon at this point used to be pretty gentle, but after all of this shit, he's like, let's do it, let's kill him.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, on the very day the Caltrops plan to strike, Tumbleton once again gets fucked over. And because a dragon is swooping down on them. And it turns out it's Sea Smoke with Sir Addam Velaryon riding it. And he's doing this to prove that not all bastards need to be turncloaks, which is very noble of him. And so his plan is to retake Tumbleton from the two betrayers, because their treason had stained him with this reputation of being a turncloak. So he's trying to save face. Not a bright idea to bring this dragon against guys who have two much bigger dragons. But
brave and good intention.
Well, he catches them unaware too. That's the key. He just comes in.
I really like this that infamously Ulf White was so drunk he just rolled under a table and snored throughout this entire battle. Hammer Time gets on his. He is quick to respond. And he tries to rush to get onto his dragon, but Lord John Broxton said, Lord Hammer, my condolences. When Hammer turned glowering, for what, he demanded. You died in the battle, old John replied, drawing Orphan Maker and thrusting it deep into Hammer's belly before opening.
See, this was not exactly a bright move. Killing him when a dragon is about to kill you.
Yeah.
Killing one of your dragon riders when there's a dragon up there that needs to be killed.
And then he gets killed himself there. I mean, it wasn't much of a chance to kill him. Like, if he wanted to die like that, he could have done it at any time.
I just like to think that it's because Hammer was so horrible that he was taking him out.
He was too legit.
I think he wanted to take the dragon himself, but then he gets killed. But you know what's even the worst thing is, like, then, like, it talks about the shops and things that had been burned the first time, actually burned this time.
I really love the fact that this is not told as a very cut and dry, like, this is exactly what happened history story, because when shit breaks down like this, nobody even knows what happens. And so the Archmaester provides a lot of conflicting accounts as to how people died and, you know, how these, like, split-second things went down. And the real question is, how did Prince Daemon die? And the best known claim is that a mirror sellsword, Black Trombo, what a cool fucking name.
Black Trombone?
Trombo.
That's even worse.
I don't just smashed his face in. Second version is that the prince was killed by some unknown man-at-arms who did not even realize who he'd killed, which sounds exactly like what would happen in a clusterfuck of a battle.
Exactly.
And the third alternative is that he didn't even make it out of his tent, but his burning pavilion just collapsed upon him. But either way, Daemon totally died, and Hammer totally died.
Yep.
So, but Addam has no way of knowing that. He is just against these enemy dragons. So, here we go. We lose more dragons.
So now it says riderless dragons versus Addam and Sea Smoke?
The other ones were drawn by the Blood and Battle, kind of like Drogon was.
Yes.
That happens that's mentioned a few times. They're attracted to that kind of battle, so that may happen at the Battle of Meereen as well.
And this is when he talks about how this was the only time the dragons ever truly danced. Addam's riding Sea Smoke, Tessarion, which was Daeron's now riderless dragon, are dancing, and they think that maybe it was like a mating dance more so than a battle.
I don't know why they have to mate if they're born pregnant.
Vermithor rose roaring into the sky. Of course, he was Hammer's, and he is 1 billion years old and really big.
Shit, that's old.
Yeah.
If the dragons are kept locked up all the time, how do they mate?
I've already given the answer to this. I'm not gonna.
They're born pregnant, duh.
I bow to your superior knowledge.
Well, how many
eggs? That's just how it works.
Well, ultimately, you guys, Sea Smoke was the first to die. Vermithor ripped his head off.
Jesus.
Then, fucking stupid-ass dragon tried to fly, still holding another dragon's head in his jaws, but he couldn't lift the weight. So, at no point does he just, drop the head and fly away. Really, really worried about the intelligence of dragons at this point.
Remember, riderless dragons are not.
He collapsed and died. Tessarion, the Blue Queen, lasted until sunset. She was not doing so well, so Lord Blackwood had his archer put her down like a lame horse.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was sad.
Got the best archer. It's like put it through her eye.
Tumbleton, you guys. Tumbleton never recovered from that.
So wait, what did Marbrand like fall from the sky? Marbrand, what am I saying? Addam Velaryon? I was thinking Addam Marbrand. Addam Velaryon, did he fall off the dragon?
He dies in the battle.
I just assumed that he died in the fall.
Yeah, but they don't give an actual
Well, they say, like a lot of dragon riders chain themselves down, so he probably got crushed at some point.
Okay. Oh, Tumbleton.
Oh, Tumbleton.
More lines about the dragon and dragon are like the dragon rider. They share the same like loves and hates, like or view. Like that's just one view of it, he says, but that's interesting.
Like bacon.
Now, Silverwing was left, and she did not die.
Yeah, she flies away, right? Let's see.
It says she was flopping listlessly across the field, feeding on the burned remains of horses, men, and oxen. 8 of the 13 caltrops lie dead. And, of course, Ulf White wakes up, having slept through all of this. I don't even know how that's possible. And he finds himself a last dragon rider, and he has the last dragon, which is Silverwing.
Is this when he wants to take out the Tyrells?
So
he must be king now, I think. He's moving up from that.
Hightower decides to just go ahead and, even though 8 of the 13 caltrops is dead, he brings 2 casks of wine as a gift because he agrees that he's gonna help old Ulf the Sot take King's Landing. So he gives him the Arbor gold because he knows that he likes the gold. And Ulf is like, okay, you're being a little suspicious right now, so why don't you share the gold with me?
And he's like, yup, gulp, 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 gulp.
Sir Hoper,
delicious.
Creston, no man can question the manner of his death. Rather than betray his fellow caltrops, he drank deep and asked for more. So of course Ulf went down.
That dude's got a set, man. He's
and
got
poison. And this is what makes you think about, Sir King Viserys at the beginning, because Lord Ulf just goes to sleep and never wakes up. Just like King Viserys.
Or he just died in his sleep.
If he could just give the wine without giving it away, it would have worked. But he's brave enough to take the wine. But
one of his own men in the room and been like,
yeah, just give him this wine.
Nodding his finger.
So many ways to get away.
I wouldn't think it'd be that hard to get Ulf to drink wine. You just leave it within 30 miles of him.
Be like, hey, Ulf, can you just guard this wine for a second?
It's ultra delicious.
It gives you wings.
You can't get out of that. The dude's like, oh, hey, let's share this wine.
Well, by that point, because he was nervous and sweating, and he's like, hey, here, have your cup. Like, he didn't even have to even be there. It's just dumb.
Go and tame Silverwing. And so we talk about how sad it is that poor Addam Velaryon, born Addam of Hull, had saved King's Landing from the Queen's foes at the cost of his own life, and she didn't even know. She's trying to travel back to Dragonstone. She's having a hard time because she's got nothing. She's got no coin, no ships, no assets. Rosby bars the gate to her approach. She goes to Duskendale. They only let her stay just a little bit. And finally, by the way, she's clutching Prince Aegon, her last living son, to her side forever. She had to sell her crown to raise the coin to buy passage on a Braavosi merchantman, recalling Dany's dilemma a little bit later. So she was adamant on returning to Dragonstone so she could find eggs, hatch more dragons, because that doesn't take any time at all.
They were saying go to the Vale or go up to White Harbor, but it's just all on dragons. She's always dependent on the dragons.
Yeah, I mean, why not go back to Dragonstone? Come on.
But she goes back to Dragonstone to suffer her last and most grievous treachery. When she left Dragonstone, she left Sir Robert Quince in charge as the castellan.
The dude is fat.
But Sir Alfred Broom, was the most senior of the Knights of Dragonstone, and he expected to be named as castellan, so of course he was very upset when old Fatty got the promotion into that. He comes in with an escort of 40 men to meet Rhaenyra and her bedraggled little party. And takes her back to Dragonstone, and as soon as she comes in, she sees Quince's charred corpse.
Hanging from the wall.
And young Prince Aegon was the first to realize what it meant. He tells her mom to flee, but it's too late. The Queen's protectors are murdered. And
except for one who put up a fight.
Let's see. Oh, Sir Loreth Lansdale.
Yeah, he got a few.
He died.
Got a few swipes in.
Well, the boy prince, little Aegon, Queen Rhaenyra and her ladies were marched at spear point through the gates of Dragonstone. And they find themselves face to face with a dead man and a dying dragon.
Aegon II and Sunfire have returned.
Sunfire sounds like he's in pretty bad shape, y'all.
Well, yeah, he was in that fight
multiple
with
battles. Right?
Grey Ghost.
And also the other. Yeah, but the final battle that did him in was with that girl on the dragon.
Yes. Moonfire.
The girl on the dragon. Oh, the one that was like the size of a horse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we find out here that it was Lord Larys who decreed the fugitives, who'd smuggled them out and decreed the fugitives would part company. He had smuggled out King Aegon II and his children through a secret passage in Maegor the Cruel. So he delivered Prince Maelor, the 2-year-old with strong trauma, to Lord Hightower. Princess Jaehaera with Storm's End. So neither knew where the other was bound. Very good precautions there. Lyra's,
It sounds like a very, Varys like sends Daenerys and Viserys off, but also like Aegon in another direction, and they don't know they exist.
And Larys had concealed Aegon II amongst a load of codfish. And, he sent him off. So I guess there's an interesting point here, again, coming back to dragon riders and their dragons. And we ask, why did Sunfire make his way to Dragonstone? Was it because he had an instinct to return to his birthplace, or did he somehow sense the presence of King Aegon on the island? Or sensed his need? But, again, this brings us to the question, which the Archmaester asks several times in this, who knows the heart of the dragon? Who can understand this connection?
What's weird is that how come Aegon was given a new egg, yet his sister and brother were left to try to tame an old dragon? Well, his dragon, he's the only one who's ever ridden it, but the other two, Helena and One Eye, their dragons were
One Eye
previously
had the
ridden.
old dragon, but I didn't think Dreamfire was that old.
She was ridden before by the old queen, Rhaenyra.
It could have just been a bonding thing.
Just matches their
weird.
personality.
Like, it seems like they're given eggs when they're young, like Targaryens. So I was wondering if maybe they weren't given eggs because they didn't have a claim to the throne, but then Aegon was given an egg. So I don't...
An interesting question. But anyway, so this kind of gives us some backstory on what happened to Sunfire. He did definitely kill Grey Ghost. And so the burned king and the maimed dragon found new purpose in the other, and they kind of bonded again. And I think then we talk about the fall of Dragonstone. It took less than an hour, but the important thing is, through the fall of Dragonstone, that Lady Bela, who was Daemon's little girl, right? She slipped out of her window, found her dragon, Moondancer.
Yep.
And Moondancer really struck the final blow to Sunfire.
Yeah, Broom is an ultimate douchebag. Not only is he stupid, like he can't stop that, but then he's gonna go like kill her afterwards and they stop him. Like Broom is just a total idiot and douchebag.
So what happened to Bela? Did we find out?
She's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, probably
She's burned though.
now currently, but yeah. She was spared by Marston Waters and Tom Tangleton.
It's just there's so many nicknames in this thing.
What's worse is when they have two nicknames.
Oh man. King Aegon leapt from the saddle of Sunfire when Sunfire took that wound and shattered both legs immediately.
Both legs!
In addition to everything else that he's gone through.
Yeah.
He's having a rough go.
But he refuses milk of the poppy. He's not going to be addicted to that shit anymore.
Yeah.
So his last act is to, not his last act ever, but, he decides to spring a trap for his sister.
Damn. He wins the war.
Nope.
Well, in terms of him and her.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So they take Rhaenyra, they present her to Sunfire, who did not take any interest until she started bleeding. I guess they cut her with a dagger. And then the good news is...
They pricked her Maegor's teeth, right?
Al highlighted that part.
It's Broom. It's always Broom, a little douchebag.
A little perv.
Blasted her with fire, ate her in 6 bites.
And then
while her son watched.
Aegon Dragonbane sees this. And
no wonder he became Dragonbane, man. And so Rhaenyra Targaryen, the realm's delight and the half-year queen, that's a very, very short reign, died at 33 years old. So Broom, proving to be ultimately shitty, argued for killing Prince Aegon. But Aegon too forbade it and said he had value as a hostage. And in the days following his half-sister's death, Aegon too clung to the hope that Sunfire might recover. Yeah, right, dude. Sunfire died. And hanging on way longer than anyone thought possible.
And didn't he cry?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, he didn't cry for anyone else, but he cries for his damn dragon.
Yeah. It's a good point. We don't know how sad he was about his kid's death, So he's reunited with his horrible lady mother, the Queen Dowager, who emerged triumphant only by really outliving her.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to find out how she dies.
Yeah, so Aegon's triumph, not fully a strong victory. The new Black armies were on the march even as he returned to the Red Keep. Aegon sat on the Iron Throne again, obviously totally crippled and useless, and after half a year later, died. So then I guess there begins the question of how the second Aegon fell and was succeeded by the third, obviously Aegon Dragonsbane. But yeah, so this finishes out by telling us the war for the throne would go on, but the rivalry that began at a court ball when a princess dressed in black and a queen in green had come to its red end. And with that concludes this portion of our history. Good recap, guys.
Damn.
We burned through all of this, probably missing all the finer details and getting everything wrong.
So basically, it was a draw on both. Or it was really a loss for everybody. Is what happened.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think anyone really won.
Yeah.
I think they just decided to throw the dragons in the trash.
Obviously,
Be like, we don't need these anymore.
Alicent,
And neither do we need our little folk.
She turned out okay. Nothing bad happened to her. She got imprisoned, maybe slightly.
But we don't know what happened later on to them as well, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess she didn't really get off that easy considering that most of her kids died, so.
Yeah.
I hope she lived to see all her kids die and watch as Viserys took the throne.
Well, Viserys didn't take the throne, right? It was,
He did after. Didn't he? Or was it just
Viserys eventually does, like, that's late.
Yeah.
Okay, so when do you have to go, Mimi? Because there's a couple questions for you. Maybe we should, do you have to go right away, or?
Yes.
Okay. Do you mind if we stay a little bit longer and go over some questions in after show, or?
No, of course not, but.
If people are up for going longer.
Great recap, guys. And,
yeah, it was fun.
Of course, listeners, let us know what you thought about the Princess and the Queen. I know we were a little late in covering this, but give us some feedback on the forums and on Twitter, and tell Kyle that rats are not pregnant from birth.
That's a mean. I am Godzilla.
And I wasn't even making that claim. I was saying comparing the populations. You'd say it about rats. You wouldn't say it about dragons, which is the opposite. Dragons don't breed enough. That's the problem.
We're just retitling this to the Animal Facts podcast. I don't even
male
think
seahorses
anymore.
Yeah.
How are they male if they breed? I don't get that.
Male seahorses get pregnant.
Because they provide the sperm.
Sense. That would make them female.
No, because they have peens.
Bye, y'all.
So yeah, maybe.
Doesn't make sense.
No, because they have peens.
Doesn't make sense.
No, because they have peens.
Doesn't make sense.
No, because they have peens.
Cool. So do you want to answer a couple questions from forums or the Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is after show, basically. Okay.
Let's do it quick. I don't have too much time for an after show either, but.
Okay. Well, quickly, just
my friend's just sitting here, like, staring at me because he can't talk, so.
Okay. Well, mentioned as you guys probably mentioned or noticed, like the armies are a lot smaller in the battles here. I think it makes sense because of the dragons. You don't want to muster armies out there. But how did you feel like about the battles here compared to the Ice and Fire? Do you feel like it was overwhelming Ice and Fire, or do you think Ice and Fire is still good, or what?
Do I think Ice and Fire is still good? Yes, of course I think.
I mean, the battle size of it. So people are like, I feel like underwhelmed for Ice and Fire, but Ice and Fire has a lot larger armies, right?
Well, the thing is, I mean, when I'm reading wars, like, yeah, you hear the number, you're like 8,000 or 20,000. It's like, when I'm reading it, I just picture a lot of people.
Yeah, like, honestly, for Ice and Fire, they seem too big to me for a medieval setting. So this felt more real to me than Ice and Fire battles, because I just don't see armies like that size actually battling it out.
Those dragons made it feel more real?
Yes.
The dragons made it an interesting tactic. Like, you had to have a dragon guard a certain area, or you had to guard your areas with dragons and play them. They're like a really powerful piece, but not the ultimate winner.
To me, it felt like they didn't plan dragon warfare very well. Like, it seemed like they didn't really know how to utilize them to the greatest advantage, because it seemed like they could have done a hell of a lot more damage than they did.
Well, they never really had to up to this point, at least for in the West, right? Because it was just dragons against men. That was it. Like,
exactly. Dragons were on one side, and men were on the other. This is the first time ever where it was dragon versus dragon.
And it makes you wonder, like, how much did that happen in Valyria? Did they have civil wars there when this happened? Or, I mean, like, the Targaryens were kind of like a backwater family that just left to escape the fall of Valyria, so they weren't entirely exactly the highest.
They were probably like the lowest of the low back in Valyria.
They just had like a vision. They're like, oh, we gotta like leave. This thing's going down. Okay, but the main question everyone has been talking about, debating, is dragons good or bad? Should we have dragons or should they be killed off?
I say good. I do, like, I know that debate has been going on as to, you know, which is worse, being slaughtered by an army or being slaughtered by a dragon.
Yeah.
But I feel that the damage a dragon does is much less. I just feel like it's a one hit and then done, whereas an army is going to devastate the land for a much longer period.
What do you think, Kyle?
Neither. They're just creatures that exist in the world. Like, so they do exist, so they should exist. Like, yes.
And it seems like in the wild they weren't that dangerous. I mean, they did kill some people, but they weren't as many as you think. They were just eating sheep and fish and that sort of thing. They weren't as dangerous when they were on their own. And
I feel like in the hands of the ruling family, it did keep all the other realms in line. Like, the kingdoms were at once united, and they did have a very long period of peace. It was only when it was dragon against dragon that stopped, but as long as it was dragon and everyone else, it was kind of okay.
Yeah, they only had the three big wars, I think, right? They had Dance of the Dragons, and Blackfire Rebellion was
Blackfire Rebellion, and
Roberts came later.
War of the Ninepenny Kings.
But they didn't even have dragons there either, right?
I don't think they had dragons. Well, they didn't have dragons during the Blackfire Rebellion.
No, this was the last because Aegon Dragonsbane started killing them all off.
But you can look at the wall. If you see what happened to the wall, they didn't have a lot of people there anymore because there wasn't a lot of fighting going on compared to before. Like, I feel, like, if you have 7 kingdoms fighting, then it's weird. Like, because 7 kings are more likely to have fights. That's better to have a unified kingdom. But then again, when there were 7 kingdoms, I don't think they had quite the size of war when you have, like, 3 kingdoms versus 3. I don't know if that happened. Like, everyone's going for the throne, so they need that utter victory, whereas before it was...
Okay. So the alliances.
Yeah. It's tricky. But I mean, like, the North makes sense that it's on its own. The Eyrie makes sense that it's on its own. Dorne makes sense it's on its own. But, like, the Riverlands, the Reach, and the Westerlands seem like they could be one mega country.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why it seems to me that it makes sense that the Riverlands, and I mean, the Westerlands have a bit of mountains, but it seems like they and the Reach could be natural allies, or moving that direction. They do that here, and they do that in the Ice and Fire.
And then there's Pike.
Yeah, they're just dumb. They don't even do shit.
Wants anything to do with
Dagon Greyjoy likes to fight. It's like, where's Dagon Greyjoy? Do you think that's in the excerpt?
What was he doing this entire fight? Yeah. I have no idea.
He shows up at the end. Maybe he goes for the Blacks at the end. He just shows up at King's Landing. He's like, yeah, I'm for Blacks.
He's trying to release the Kraken.
Yeah. It's probably the armies of the Blacks are probably the Starks have mustered their full forces and some more.
And you have to wonder what, like, Dorne's thinking this entire time. It's like, well, glad we're not part of that realm.
Yeah. Oof. This makes Dorne even more badass. Like, they killed Meraxes and, like, they're holding off on them. Like, and why did Aegon not bother to go there again? He just thought it wasn't worth it. It was too risky to go there.
Well, I think at that time, did they have a lot of dragons?
Do you have any Twitter questions for us, Kyle?
No, I've been asking them all throughout the episode. So
I guess as a last thing we could do before you go is, so we didn't figure out who the traitor was other than maybe Larys, but let's do a couple of marry one-nighter, like, scorpions in these characters.
I do have one thing to ask was, did this High Septon get instated in King's Landing by Baelior the Blessed? Because I noticed that he wasn't there at this point. I was just wondering, I just noticed that the High Septon wasn't instated in King's Landing, that he actually stayed in Old Town. So I was wondering when they moved from Old Town to King's Landing.
Yeah, maybe Baelior, like, built stuff for them over there and then they went there. Yeah. Good. That's a good point there. I mean, at the very start, too, they mentioned, like, the writers, like, this wasn't really a dance of the dragons, it was more the dying of the dragons. I felt that was, like, George...
Yeah,
like,
all of them got killed off.
Yeah, but he was, like, defending his name of A Dance of Dragons in the 5th book, because he's like, hey, they didn't fight, because that wouldn't be a dance of the dragons, that's a dying of the dragons. So, I don't know. Thought it was, like, a message from him.
No, I always feel sad in these kinds of stories when it's just, you know, they have, like, such great stuff, and then they ruin it. And they had dragons, and they were awesome, and they ruined it.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the game. So what did you say for Daemon, Ashley? You said you'd hit it?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Salt Man or Husband or what?
I'm gonna go with husband and assume that I'm the ruling person and have the power over him. He's my consort.
You have an open relationship too.
Ashley wears the pants in this movie.
You'll be a better Rhaenyra. You won't be paranoid.
Right.
Like who were the women in this
Like
one?
some 16-year-old little stick girl. Not an issue.
Well, okay, Rhaenyra, Kyle. What do you think? Or Ashley, what do you think about Rhaenyra? When she was younger, she seemed nicer.
Oh, what are my options?
Marry, one-nighter, mistress, or scorpions.
Mistress.
Yeah, I think so.
She's the right kind of crazy.
Not the later one when she goes insane though.
Yeah, well, she's still got her kids. Nettles. Oh wait, she's too young.
Nettles in a few years.
let's not even go near that. Queen Alice.
Okay, Queen Alysanne. I like Old Town. I think it's important.
What? What are you saying? That wasn't an answer at all.
I'm not gonna score.
Queen Alysanne? Okay.
But here's the thing, they haven't even done that much in the current books, but you wonder if they're going to be active later on. Like, they've got so much money and so many forces. And
it shocked me how powerful Old Town was. Like, you'd think that they were a great house on their own right, not part of the Gardeners or whatever.
Well, they're the high towers, right?
The thing is, like, the areas that have, like, the towns or the city, like, I mean, Old Town's not a town, but, like, this, they have a power in this area, even if they're not the overlords, because, like, White Harbor is like that, Barrowton is like that, like, and these areas are going to become more powerful over time as they develop and become bigger.
You know, it makes me think that the Manderleys are, like, crazy powerful and we just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Well, they do command a lot of that area. They have ships, that sort of thing. The Starks are the rulers, but they don't have that many people under their direct command, because they don't have that many people in Winterfell, if you look in those areas. That's why it's important to keep, like, your heirs marrying, like, those within your area to keep that connection. So I think the Old Town was, like, always marrying into the Tyrells, like, all the time. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to get going, guys.
Okay.
If you want to, I can talk about this more if you want, Ashley. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Let's do this then. We'll talk for another, like, 10 minutes or something. But yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna head out. Great chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Great to hear everyone again.
Happy holidays.
Cool. Happy holidays. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
And if you have anything from Westeros you read you want to mention, Ashley, we can talk about that. Let's see.
I think I brought everything up.
Yeah, so it was a Septon that was doing those quotes that he said were biased.
Yes, that was Rand pointed out that
or Elio, people who don't know who Rand.
Elio, yeah, sorry, that's his name on the board. That like just mentioning who he was quoting at when he was mentioning those passages.
Mm-hmm.
That it was all the same maester, and that was the Septon. That was the Septon that anointed Aegon II, and it seems like all of his quotes are biased towards Aegon and dislikes the Rhaenyra, however you say her name.
And yeah, I mean, it did have some contrast with his personality, but it wasn't like like if it was Aemond who was the one who had that quote, like it'd be even more of a, like, I wouldn't be a can't match, but you could see Aegon maybe getting darker over time, like other people.
Yeah, but I think anyone who read the story noticed right away that seemed odd. Like, the first mention of Aegon was that he seemed like an okay dude, and then the second one is, I want her dead. She's stealing my crown. That just was like a, whoa, what's going on there moment for me. So when I learned later on that the one was a quote from one particular person and the other one was from somewhere else, it made more sense to me.
Mm. Yeah,
however, you mentioned later on a quote, and I wasn't sure. That one I'm not sure about. The cutting.
Yeah, the other one doesn't.
The first time it mentioned her sitting on the throne, I know that was a quote, but the second time when you mentioned it, I'm not sure if that was or not.
Yeah, because the second one doesn't have quote marks around it. Right. So, I mean, it could just be an error one way or the other. Maybe he meant to have quote marks, maybe.
Yeah, and I think it's said that there's purposeful errors in the retelling. Like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, he does put those kind of errors in there as well. Yeah, like the Rhaenyra mention is twice. Even when the queen gets crowned, it also says the Rhaenyra.
Yeah. So I wonder if they just, decided that they ruled them before they ruled.
I think they just claimed the whole continent, and so they say that. Unless there's Rhaenyra elsewhere, but they aren't really mentioned, right? They're basically in Dorne, is where they are. So I think they're just claiming it, just like, some kings in England would probably do that. They claimed all of France when they only had like a sliver of it. So I think that's far more likely than it being a mistake. It seems like the dragons aren't that bad to being like they're okay with being chained, like as if they're used to it. But you need to give them room.
Yeah, they seem pretty okay with people doing what they do once they've been tamed. I don't know, maybe it has to do with whatever their binding magic practices that they do, because it's not mentioned in this story, but they say that there are magical spells and whatnot that bind a rider to their dragon. Yeah. So.
And you have the horn and stuff. I think you put it well. You said there's something metaphysical about it. It's not just like having a dog or something like that. There's some sort of connection.
Yeah. No, I fully believe there's something more going on there than just, you've raised it.
Because there's so many hints in this work, and I know it's just like, it could be like false hints or whatever, but just like this is an opportunity for George to put in hints about that connection over and over.
No, and I think like how much she freaked out when Joffrey got on the other dragon shows. Like, it's well known that a dragon will not take another rider. Like, you can't just, a tamed dragon will not just, you can't just go on.
I mean, it's not even like, I gotta double check my code. So one like she wouldn't take another rider at the same time. But from what I understood, it seemed like, for example, Dany's with Drogon. Dany could not go on another dragon because the other dragon would reject her. I don't know if that's like, and how would it, like, I guess because they're in the same area, but even without that could be something. So I don't know. Like, I think there's some kind of connection there. What else?
My wonder is, like, how do dragons, like, well, it suggests with Helena that they know when they die, but it's still kind of iffy. Like, how do the old dragons know it's okay to be tamed by a new dragon rider? That seems weird to me.
Again, if they have some sort of connection that they could tell, like, that she knew when she died, she knew that the guy was in the island, although again, that could have been just returning to ancestral home that has that option. But, I mean, in a world where there's warging, why would there not be, like, even a lesser form of that, like this connection?
Yeah, no, like, Song of Ice and Fire, when dragons are living in full force.
Yeah. And they're magical, like, it just makes sense that they're...
Anything, I guess, is possible, which makes me wonder where all the other gods are hanging out during this time. Like, I do feel like there's something going on with the heart trees and, him going, Daemon?
Damon is one
dying, and then going to the God's Eye, and when he was marking the tree at Harrenhal, I think there's something there.
Yeah. That might have even been mentioned somewhere in the books, like the tree had scars on it or something, like, and we don't remember. Or we could see that through Bran's view.
Bran's eyes, maybe he'll see that at one point. The
green men are mentioned again here. I think Hull went to the island with the green. It's always a green man. It's like, what's going on on that little island?
Yeah, well, they all talk about this island. It's like, do none of them just take a trip over there and check it out?
Yeah.
Is that forbidden? I don't know. A lot of speculation.
We'll have to come back to this in the future.
Was there any questions on our message board?
Yeah, let's see what else they got on there. If there's anything missing there.
There might have been some there.
Scope of the thing with the War of the Five Kings. It seems just a lot of people who are like, dragons just can't be tolerated, they're just too dangerous of a weapon, but they're not
I don't
weapons.
See that. I see them as a deterrent.
Yeah. They're not nukes. They don't actually like destroy the world and leave it like that for like generations.
Yeah, they don't ruin the atmosphere.
Yeah. They kill a lot of people in the thing, but so did the War of the Five Kings.
I feel like the amount of wars they stop just for existing negates kind of the damage.
If it looks like they're going to save the world with the others, like, you kind of need them in that sense.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's a lot. I mean, it sounds horrible, but I kind of feel like it's better to die by dragon flame than by horrible raping army.
They're not raping anybody. They're not like doing. Yeah, exactly. They're not doing that. They're under the.
I mean, would I rather be in Tumbleton? No.
I'm just giving Alex a message on Tower of the Hand. He wants to come in for a bit. But anyway, Nettles was interesting because, like, specifically described as brown-skinned as well.
Oh yeah, that was another theory, that she was maybe related to Brown Plum Ben.
Yeah. Even though he did have some blood from just from his plum side. So just because they're both brown doesn't mean they're related.
You never know. Then it could be a connection.
Seems like she's up to something. She's got a dragon. She's got over there, but it's just like at some point those dragons died.
Yeah, because her dragon was actually a bit older than the other ones. If that wasn't the case, I would have thought that maybe the dragon was still alive, but maybe it had eggs. Like I'm thinking maybe if it was a girl and Craxus or whatever its name was a guy, she had eggs. Maybe that was the relationship going on for Axis.
Yeah. I still don't get the title of the fifth book of Dance of Dragons. Like, I think this is trying to show that it doesn't have to be a fight of dragons.
Yeah, the fifth book didn't even have the two claimants interacting, so I don't.
It's one. It could be a setup for them coming up in the future. Dance of the Dragons. Two,
Yeah.
this is talking about Tyrion, Dany, and Jon, and seeing that. But he's saying here that it doesn't mean a fight because there was barely any.
Yeah, and the only true dance was a mating dance. So maybe that's set up for Jon and Dany.
Yeah, it just seems like, and some of the our listeners were talking about just like a lot of families here that were powerful, like the Velaryons and stuff, are weaker in our time, like in the later time, because this probably weakened them a lot, and they went downhill from here.
Yeah, that was something I found interesting, and I'd like to go back over is all the old families and pinning at their what strength their power was at different points in history, because you see them rise and fall, and I find that fascinating. I love that about this series. I wish this one came with its own appendices so I could hear it aloud. After reading it the first time, I only read it like 2 days ago. I feel bad for that, and I didn't realize how dense it was, and just being like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to straighten all this out in time for the podcast.
Would the Baratheons have taken Rhaenyra's side if Lucerys had agreed to marry one of the Four Sisters? Kind of seems like part that it was an excuse, like they knew what the answer would be. Partly that. Oh, they seem partly very proud. Yeah.
He's not the first in line, but neither is Aemond.
Yeah, that's it for the messages. See if there's anything on Twitter.
Maybe if he offered his brother as well, that would have gone. Like, he had 4 daughters. I mean, and she had, I think, 4 sons. Oh, she had 5 sons.
Yeah.
If he was a little bit wiser.
They were too quick to assume that the Baratheons would be with them, and that's probably what Aemond and they were saying, oh, they're just expecting to come like a dog or whatever.
Yeah, and they didn't think to offer them anything for their fealty.
Yeah. You have to offer something for the fealty. They had nothing. It's just said, just support us. No.
Like, oh, well, your great-grandmother is related to me. It's like, well, that doesn't do me any help.
Yeah. Alright, Twitter. Opening up Twitter, and then we're done. That was fun. That was a fun episode to record.
No, I love this stuff. I wish we got more of it given to us more often, more books to talk about.
Well, I mean, World of Ice and Fire is coming out next year, I guess, but that'll be good. But we went to the next book.
Wait. Yeah, I'm buying that right away.
The next Duncan Egg will be good as well.
Did he start writing that at all, or did he?
I think he did some work on it. Yeah, I think he did some work. Hugh the Hammer and Ulf commit atrocities, and the dragons that were Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne's. Interesting.
The most frustrating thing was the traitors thing, because we don't know why, and it just bothers me. Like, why would they just switch sides?
Yeah, because that they were going to probably win the war right there, and then they switched sides and caused all this trouble. There's a few key moments where that happened. That switch of sides. Sunfire getting hit for the final wound. That final takedown of Sunfire was big.
And I'm surprised that they went over to the Free Cities for help, but no one thought of Dorne. Like maybe making
one way or the other.
there.
Yeah.
That wasn't even considered.
And Daemon was fighting the Stepstones, which isn't that far from Dorne. So you think they would have consolation one way or the other?
If they wanted Pike involved, they have to go the long way around just to get over there.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Pike too. Even the logic, it didn't make sense. They were like, Pike might go for the Greens, but
they're farther removed than Winterfell is.
I know. Let's see what there was the first mention of them. I think it said but the guy was would like to fight. He's likes to fight and stuff. So maybe they could win him over. But if he likes to fight, then he'd want to fight the Velaryons because nobody else to fight in the ships, right? If they want him over, who's he going to fight on the ships? Even that.
I'm wondering because it says it's not done yet. The battle's still going on, and there's still obviously it goes into Aegon eventually getting the throne. I'm wondering if maybe Pike gets involved eventually.
Yeah, that's what I have jokingly said that, but it could be that again. I think it's for sure that they got more forces out of the north than the Vale because they have forces there. But other places may come. Maybe the Baratheons will come back and switch sides again.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
The marriage alliance falls through because Aemon's dead. And so is Daemon, who would have been the other option.
Oh, Aegon Dragonbane, like the last dragon dies with him, I think, right? But he also, I don't know if this is a conflicting story, but it seems like he was also trying to hatch dragons as well. Maybe he realized that they need them. It's something we'd have to look up.
Where was he trying to hatch them?
There's a list of people who like failed to hatch dragons, and he might be under them. Let's see. Let's just look up Aegon Dragonbane.
I know his first dragon died. Maybe he was given an egg after that, and that's why they included it?
Aegon 3 Targaryen. But how do you feel about the ratio of good targs to bad targs? Does this affect you at all?
I don't know what to even make of it. I mean, it does, like, I feel like there should be a lot more crazy for the amount of incest going on, to be honest. I think the deformities and whatnot should be a lot more prominent, because this amount of, like, I didn't realize it was this bad.
Quite a few.
Like, it is ridiculously bad. There should be...
Yeah, that's why they get the stub-tailed kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. He always dressed in black, Aegon. He was pale, lean, and never smiled. Let's see.
Poor kid was traumatized.
Mimi kept saying that Maelor would be, but he was only 2 years old. Possibly doesn't remember anything from that.
Well, he has to die eventually.
Yeah, he has to die. I mean, in fact, he could be
know.
dead even. He could be dead now. Maybe his ship sank or something. Like,
yeah.
Because they say that he had no male heirs later on. But yeah, Aegon became known as Aegon the Dragonbane, despite his later efforts to obtain dragon eggs. At some point, he had 9 mages cross the sea to hatch his remaining cache of eggs. Aegon had 2 sons.
Why would he kill them all and then try to save them or rehatch them?
It could be conflicting reports. Could be like he initially did, and then you realized that he needed them. That the world needed them. Somebody else killed them.
Maybe Viserys was starting to clamor for his seat or something. Like I know eventually. Well, what is it that?
What happened after that?
Aegon ruled, and then it went to. Did it go to Balon?
Aegon had 2 sons, Daeron, who's the young dragon, and Baelor. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they both... Is Viserys the one that was like the hand and like helped out and stuff? And Tyrion admires him? It might be. Let's see.
It must be, because he would have been around where
He would have been the uncle of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Baelor.
So I'm pretty sure Viserys actually sits the throne. It's not just his kid that does.
Do you know VOK did a episode? I haven't listened to all of it. It's too long.
I haven't listened either, and I feel bad.
Well, we don't have to listen to every episode they do.
No, but this one I feel I should have.
Yeah,
but I
it's like
only read the story
long.
3 days ago, and after that I was like, I have to read every Westeros post about it, because obviously I'm not smart enough to figure this out on my own. So I haven't listened to it yet. I haven't listened to our back episodes yet, and I feel bad about that, because I usually do the ones I'm not involved in.
Let's see here.
Okay, so Baelor stuck all of his sisters in a vault. And
they were too tempting to him.
Targaryens. Okay, so Dana ended up getting it on with Aegon the Unworthy.
Let's see.
And
I think he got on
had
with a lot of people.
And had Daemon Blackfire.
Yeah, it's from Dana.
And then the Aegon legitimized him. And so much here. I wish we got like the full story for it. I like reading this one. It made me realize that A Song of Ice and Fire could be condensed down into like this kind of format and told shortly like that. And it makes me realize the Dance of the Dragons could have been expanded so much, and we could have gotten like 5 novels full of this. And
well, I mean, they do have the longer version of it, so. You know what, this would be good? Like they were talking about somebody, I think I read this on the forums, but I thought as well as like an anime version of Dance of the Dragons would be pretty cool. Anime
only
adaptation.
with high budget. I'm just seeing this really bad animation of dragons, and all the Targaryens look the same, because anime characters only look different when their hair is different, but all their hair looks the same here.
Well, they'll have like Aegon all burned and stuff though. That'd be funny.
Oh, they'll look like pretty boys. And then the North will come in and they're all hairy. And they'll look like Americans.
So you were, just I guess as a conclusion, so you initially were for the blacks then?
Yeah, I was a black supporter the full way through.
Oh, the whole way, yeah.
I think her only downfall was at that end when she went a little nuts and wanted
Basically
those
caused their
characters.
downfall. Like, if she'd done nothing, then they would have won. But
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, she had it in the bag, but her paranoia just...
a lot of people were with the blacks initially, and then they switched when, like, that thing or the murder of the kids, depending on how complicit she was.
See, I know it's a horrible thing that was done, but at the same time, I kind of get the eye for an eye idea that they had.
Yeah, and how much
going
control did she have on that, right? I mean, she's told that, but she can't really, like, control Daemon.
Well, I feel like if she was just told, yeah, we're gonna kill one of his kids, it'd be like, well, that makes sense. I don't think that she would have expected the kind of psychological hell they put Helena through.
Because it's testament to Martin's writing. It's hard to tell, like, because there's so many people that had a key factor in starting the war. Because you could be like, the blacks were in the right and the greens caused the war by doing this. Or you can be like, well, the greens had everything and the blacks, if they just accepted it, wouldn't have caused the war. And then you can have individual people like Aemond that just kill somebody. Like, so there were so many triggers for the war.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty, when the king makes an error and makes everyone swear fealty, I think it's pretty straightforward.
When was that done, though? That was they were both alive.
That was a long time
right?
ago.
Even getting married the second time was risky, like getting all these kids, like without trying to pair them.
I think that was.
I guess he wanted more heirs, though. I guess
the downfall was, since incest is in for Targaryens, they should have just married the kids together, and that would have solved all the problems. When Laenor died, Rhaenyra, whatever, should have been married to one of the Hightower kids.
I'm not surprised that the Hightowers or these kind of peoples were trying to take over power. It just makes sense when you have like an elite ruling class that comes in from outside.
Yeah, and they're sitting in King's Landing too. I mean, the fact that they were all in King's Landing and everyone else was in Dragonstone was, a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I wonder what they were doing in Dorne at this time. They're just chilling.
They're just like, yep, glad we didn't join that realm.
Yeah, it worked out for us for the dragons.
Which, like, honestly, I didn't realize that they weren't part of the realm at this point. It makes me very curious as to the conquest of Dorne. If they didn't have dragons at that time, how did that all work out?
And maybe that conquest is the thing that geared people to using big armies again, because they weren't doing it before. But when they went to Dorne, I think they sent a massive force at them. They'd gotten used to using smaller armies.
Is there much you've looked into Dorne a lot more than I have. Is there information about the conquest of Dorne as to how exactly it happened?
Yeah, I think it's either in the 4th or the 5th book that they talk about, like, they send the forces up, like, the main routes down, and they might have taken some, like, mountain paths to get there. But I think the key was they came in with sea power as well and came up the river and came from the other angle. So they hit Dorne from multiple angles with large forces of troops.
Okay. So
it was definitely more strategic than before, when they would just, like, charge down. It was a complete plan of conquest. They came in and then they showed up like with a massive force like Sunspear, and so it made sense when you're there to give up the city, right?
Yep. I assumed that it was dragons before. I didn't realize they didn't have them at that point.
No, they didn't have any dragons. It was a huge. Well, it looks like they sent dragons that when Meraxes there, and when she died, they didn't want to risk sending them again. I guess. But, I mean, you think about it, like, if this war hadn't happened and they decided to attack Dorne, they would have had, like, 15 dragons. It would have been bad for Dorne, because it would have been both a huge army and dragons.
I guess, also, it's like, why take over Dorne?
It's just not worth the effort to the risk. I think when Meraxes died, Aegon probably realized that it's too early to send, like, try to draw upon all these people to go attack Dorne, when he only has 2 dragons and he's barely holding it together. So... Whereas when they actually did take it, they had a lot of troops, like, together to go there.
So after his initial try, they were just like, yeah, not bothering with them, and then generations later, they decided to try it again.
And they did succeed temporarily. They took it, but then, like, the warfare, guerrilla warfare and stuff. And I mean, Daemon himself looks like he died there. Daemon died. Maybe we'll get more of that in World of Ice and Fire, like what happens there.
I see a lot of Martells married in after that point, after Aegon the Unworthy. I guess that's right around the time of the Bitter Steel revet, the Blackfire.
They almost have a similar thing there. They were saying, like, the Martells are having too much influence at court. That was, like, their reasoning for the Blackfire side. one of them.
Oh yeah?
That was one of the reasoning. Yeah, like they're having all this influence at court, and
That shows how much I pay attention. Okay, so before the rebellion started, they were already part of the realm.
yeah, like oh, you mean like the Blackfire Rebellion? Yeah, because the person the Blackfire liked was sent down to marry the Dornish. Like it was Baelor Breakspear's father that married the princess, because Baelor Breakspear is half Dornish. Okay, let's see. Where's the line here? But yeah, you don't worry, we covered it in the. Okay, this is all. Okay,
Sorry,
I think we're done. Is there anything else you want to say, or let's wrap up?
Nope, I'm just fascinated by Targaryen history and trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back to this, because we're not done talking about this. Like, in the future, we'll make references and things. But I did want to talk to you, not now, but just to say, like, at some point I would like to do an episode, a BOK episode on Madoka. It doesn't have to be this month, it could be any time.
I have not watched the new movie. It was not playing for dates I could watch it.
Isn't it in Toronto? You actually can see it. Did you get my email? Oh, what happened? Hey.
Oh.
But yeah, I guess it crashed. So I was saying, did you get my email? I sent you an email that shows that they're showing.
Yeah, none of the dates are ones I can make it. Yeah, it was, well, most of them were at like the 15th, which had already passed. And then after that, it was just in the downtown core, and I can't make it there unless I have like a day off. But I like the show better.
The show is pretty standalone. It doesn't need a movie. Like it's.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle emailed us about stone babies.
You have to put the title as something involving rats, babies, and pregnancy.
Oh, yeah, but I can't. I have to put Princess and the Queen as the title, right? In the description,
right.
In the description, I can mention, like, we debate like pregnant rats versus whatever, or something.
Stone babies.
This is gonna be a pain to edit.
I think it could be pretty much straight through most of it.
We had a couple points where we're like, edit this out, but otherwise it.
Yeah, just the sound thing, which does automatically cuts the dead space.
That helps a lot. That really helps.
Yeah.
And then the leveler levels the audio, which is good. So, okay. I guess we'll see if we can record sometime the Christmas Filks. We can probably.
Mm-hmm. I just don't know when I'm gonna be off again. Hopefully I might have a day off before then, but I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be this month. The Filks would be ideal if we get it done, but the thing is, I'll get the YouTube version out anyways.
Okay.
And that'll get promoted. And people will listen to this. Yeah, okay, as Mimi, I guess, did the official end of the show, so we'll just hang up then. Cool. Okay. Chat to you later then.
Alright.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy holidays, yeah. See how this works, if it's laggy. Especially if we have four of us, somebody else should host the call, but we can chat for now.
One sec, guys. I'll be right with you. Alright, dude.
Good luck.
Thanks, man. Have fun at work. Bye.
Hopefully Mimi can make it out of her work.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. I wasn't ready for the call. Alright.
I feel like we're crack addicts and Kyle's like hiding away his addiction.
I am. I'm like hiding in my my friend's bedroom right now while he works out of his living room. I might work out while we do this. I'm on like an exercise bike. Yeah, sweet. Mimi texted me, about 10 minutes ago saying she was leaving work, so
Excellent.
I don't think she lives that far from work, but she'll be joining us. Do we want to chat about anything right now that we can just add on to the end of the episode?
I don't know. Do we? Let's see if there's anything we need to chat about just podcast related. Let me see if I get the file open here.
There was that one article that came out saying that season 4 was going to be drastically different from the books, and I feel a little fit.
So was that article, an article seemed to be just based on like one little sentence from the actor who plays Bronn, right?
I don't know, I just read the headline and that got me too mad to actually read
Why are you like mad or surprised about it? Like it makes sense that it'd be different, right? It's just going on a different path.
Yeah.
I guess you're still mad about the...
I'm still mad about season 2.
Okay.
I'm still bitter. It's like, even the critics are like, season 1 and season 3 are the best. Which is the one season that deviated? Season 2. Well, when are they going to emulate season 2? What the hell?
What
Sorry.
the hell?
I'm done. That's done.
Ashley is the queen who never was.
We do have Twitter questions, but first I need to log into my Twitter account to figure this out. So,
Yeah, well, we can look at some of the Twitter questions. Because, I mean, we have our own...
Well, they're about the short story.
Yeah.
I read it 1.5 times.
Really?
Yep.
I'm such a slow reader. I was afraid I wasn't going to get it done in time.
It took me... I'm not a fast reader. It took me about 3 hours to get through it.
I couldn't tell. I was reading it on my iPad, and I couldn't figure out how many pages were left, so I was like, I don't know how much longer this is going to take.
Well, when the Maester wrote it, he wasn't planning for it to be on iPads or in e-readers.
Yes, he was. Blood Raven told him. He's like, there's going to be these things.
Now, I don't know if this was true or if someone was just kind of throwing out numbers, but on Westeros, someone randomly commented that it was originally 90,000 words and it was cut down to 30,000. Is that true, or is that just speculation?
I believe he has material wasn't published, and he will be doing it later, either in the World of Ice and Fire or in his own thing. So this is like the summarized version. Which is good. It'd be nice to get even more stuff. You know what it is? I think because like when he wants to write about something he likes, like a good part, he can write very quickly and a lot. It's just when he gets stuck, he can't do that.
And then he just keeps going and going. Yeah.
Well, this was written for World of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
And then it went too long, so they were like, "Oh, we can't put it in that book." But
yeah, that's why it kind of was jammed into this one, because it didn't quite fit the theme. I mean, like the princess was a dangerous woman, but the queen kind of disappears halfway through, so it was just kind of just like slotted into this book.
Yeah, but even though the queen disappears, she still got the ball rolling on everything.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they put it in here. Like, I don't care if it fits the theme 100% or 85%. I'm glad I read it. So
yeah, I'm glad I got it. But even still, I know there was a lot of cuts to it, that there are a lot of loose ends, obviously.
Yeah. Hey, Comic Book Girl followed us a few days ago.
Yay!
Cool.
I love that world. He's very nice and tiny. It's one of those things when you meet people in real life, you're like, oh, you're so small.
I get the
Ashley's really a giant. She's descended from Giantkin.
Well, you guys are north of the wall, so you're all giants up there.
Real tall.
I usually get the opposite. Oh my God, you're taller than I thought you were going to be. Yes.
How do you take that? Is that like an insult or a compliment?
Neither. I don't really take it either way. I just go, yep, this is how tall I am. Let's hug and take a picture.
Yeah. He's not as thick as the castle wall, so it's okay.
Oh, I'm thicker. So you guys ready for Christmas?
No. I've been working nonstop and it sucks. And I went Christmas shopping for the first time yesterday, and it was horrible because I hate Christmas shopping and I hate people.
Did you go with a list, or do you just kind of go and wing it?
A little of both.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Because it sucks when you're winging it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst. And I do it every year. I'm like, oh, I'll find something while I'm there, and it's awful.
Yeah, I'm winging it for my mother, and I'm still winging it because it was unsuccessful the first time.
Yeah, I got half. I got the joke half of my mom's gift, and now I need to get the serious half. And I don't know what that's going to be.
You're giving out Ice and Fire books to people, right?
Well, I gave my brother Game of Thrones years ago, and he read a few pages, and he goes, this book's weird. There's like brothers and sisters fucking and like throwing kids out of windows. He's like, Kyle, I don't think I'm going to read this. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he found like the podcast, and he figured, and he finally started reading it, and now he's like, he loves it. So it was a good gift.
I think he's been on the podcast before, right? I think he's been on.
Yeah, my bro's been on. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe later on during this vacation, I'll podcast from his house, and he can join us. I don't know.
House
maybe
Kennard, Castle's Rest, no, from the Duck's Rest or something, or
the Ducks. Yeah, how's the Duck?
Duck Hall.
Is my rustling really loud? I'm like cleaning my room at the moment.
No, it's not bad.
As long as you're not cleaning during the podcast.
Yeah, no, I'll stop when Mimi gets here. But you guys aren't important.
Yeah, right
so
now it's
I'll
fine.
do it now.
Oh, not important.
See if there's anything I wanted to ask about here.
How is the Filks coming along?
We have a lot of episodes. What I'm thinking, I might do is put them together and release it on YouTube, and then we'll do our own episode as well that we'll have them. But just to put on YouTube so they can start spreading through Twitter and all of that. So
I have one I'm going to mail you. I just did. I found a adaptation of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," Song of Ice and Fire style or Lannister style. So I'll send that to you.
the thing.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to, and then we'll get our episode out as well later on.
Are you going to put it all in one big YouTube video, or are you going to do like a song for each video, or?
I don't think I'll do a song for each video because it's too much work. So probably one or two videos. Maybe if we have like a really good song, like maybe the top 3, I might put as individual ones. But there's like between the 2 years, there's like 20 songs or something. I don't know. Upload those.
Good.
And they have the updated, like, you know, we wish George would finish writing thing.
Yep.
Hopefully that'll sound better and put together.
Oh yeah, I wasn't able to partake in that. I don't think. Might be able to do it soon.
Cool.
Unless they still have my old copy. Yeah, I don't have any.
Oh, what happened to Sander Baby?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for an opportunity when there's no one around that I can actually record that, and it hasn't come up yet.
Go to the public library and record it.
Just start belting it out in the library.
I remember you did a lot of work in that, but it kept crashing or something.
Yeah, no, that pissed me off because I had like recorded it and edited it and done like all the arranging and everything with multiple tracks, and then it just died on me, and I'm just like, nope, done.
Oh, we had Man's Man podcast follow us. The Man's Man podcast. Manly shit.
Did anything come up of late that isn't Princess and Queen related?
Yeah.
No, I found out I was looking for the Ask APOIF hashtag, but apparently you can only search so far back with hashtags and nothing's showing up. Which is kind of weird. Like I can't find them. Maybe if I, have you guys seen the South Park episode?
I haven't yet.
There's 3 of them, isn't there?
Yeah, it's 3 episodes, and I haven't seen either of them anyway. But But I'm told they're really funny.
It's on my to-do list. I will surely watch it before the new season starts. Hello?
Yeah.
So there's one thing. I mean, we'll bring this thing up again, but just because apparently there's a traitor on the council. So maybe we should at least think like who was on the council, so we can, if you have any idea who it was, rather than we'll ask this question again. But think like, did you guys have any idea who the traitor was on the council?
What?
I thought it was the Master of Whisperers.
So why did he help Aegon then?
Sorry, my volume just went crazy for a moment there.
I mean, there's somebody on the council who was Daemon's inside man.
Yeah.
So was Larys playing both sides? Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's the one who disappeared and took off, and no one knows what happened to him.
But you see, if he was Daemon's man, why did he help Aegon get away?
Did he help Aegon get away?
Yep.
That shows how far my 1.5 readings got me.
Well, I thought for a while I was like, it's got to be Iron Rod because he's so like a Lynn Corbray, like he's like, oh, it must be Aegon, blah blah blah, that he's just making up for it. But then he gets killed later on, so it's like, okay, probably wasn't him, but otherwise it would have fit him because he was like over the top.
Hey guys, I found a Ask Podcast of Ice and Fire question from Pure Doctor on Edge on Age. Wait, Pure Doctor 1 Age. Yes, okay, that's what it is. What's your favorite nickname in the series? I really like the Rock, as in Casterly Rock, and the Half Hand. Well, Amin's is obviously Darkstar. Because he is of the night.
Well, it's definitely a good nickname. One of them.
That's funny because a lot of people think that's the cheesiest nickname in the series.
Well, it's the way that's being used sometimes, right? But if you just heard the Darkstar, that could be a cool nickname. I mean, the Red Viper is a nickname, right? That's a good nickname.
Yeah, Red Viper's badass. I always like the image of the Laughing Knight. Right? Is it the Laughing Knight? The Smiling Knight? The Laughing Knight.
There's both of them. I think there's the Laughing Knight. Smiling Knight is the mad one.
Okay. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of though. Cause I get this very like Joker vision of him just smiling and crazy and killing things and with a big huge Joker face.
I think there's a Joker image of him. Somebody drew one. If you look up the Smiling Knight in the wiki, let's see.
Oh yeah?
I think he has like a Joker face.
Hmm.
Let's see. Smiling Knight. Yeah.
Oh, Mimi's calling?
Oh, good. Let me add her here then.
Hello?
Hey.
Okay,
Hello.
that's better.
Awesome.
Okay, sorry I'm late.
No problems.
I'll be at work forever.
Okay, you came.
Although I'd like to say that I had to be at work forever, even though obviously I had a half day. And I spent most of it reading this, so can't really bitch. Alright, just have to open all of those.
I'm here. Is everybody else here?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm on my phone and literally that was ringing in my ear for 5 minutes and I couldn't find the button to answer it.
Alright,
Oh,
so
thank
I've
you.
got my windows open.
Dun, 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 working out while I'm podcasting.
How many calories have you burned so far?
I don't know. This thing's not telling me anything because I stopped pedaling and it shut off on me. So I think I have to like hold the handles for it to read my pulse or something, and I'm holding an iPad instead. So and a Coca-Cola.
Probably get more calories from the Coca-Cola than you burn on the bike.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so we are gonna start talking about the Princes and the Queen, right?
Yep.
Yes, I'm glad you're here because you're our Targaryen expert.
Oh, we'll see when I get everything wrong. I'm just gonna talk about Aenys Targaryen this whole time. He was not.
Is that how his name is supposed to be said? Is that how his name's supposed to be said?
Well, that's how I've been saying it.
Because I don't know half these names.
I am so excited about this, you guys. I sat at work. I pretended I was doing important stuff. I read this the whole time. And, the shit is wacky. Alright, who's recording?
I am.
Okay, and what episode is this? So 129 then.
129 now.
God damn, y'all. 129 episodes. Okay. I guess we can just go ahead and get into the episode. There's really no planning we have to do for it. I assume we're just going to go through it. It's going to be a bit of a long episode. Are you guys ready?
It's like Mystery Night, basically. Like the same thing.
Except it's like 100 times the length of Mystery Night.
I'm just taking a picture of my notes right now because I have all these tabs and stuff on.
Yeah. You guys do all that.
I spent the night reading Westeros. I'm down.
And I'm not bringing anything to the table. So
I am not either. Oh man.
Well, I haven't read Westeros. That's good. You'll have some stuff in there.
Well, most of it is just trying to figure out the Targ tree, which then someone sent me. So I was like, oh, well, all these pages I just spent reading are here.
I mostly just wrote LOL over the gay abandoned ship name, and that's the extent of my notes. Which is truly pathetic. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna write all these notes. It'll make me look like I'm even busier at work. But instead, it was just like, okay, all right. Amin and Ashley are gonna bring the actual discussion topics. I am just gonna make jokes about the ship name. Okay. When did this come out? December 3rd. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
And when are we releasing this? Next week, right?
Yeah, I think I can get it out for next week.
The week of the 29th. Okay.